Good morning. Welcome in. This update presented by the Jim Trail Real Estate Team. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl 25-22 in overtime over the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes racking up his third Super Bowl MVP at 28 years old. Chiefs win their third Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Mahomes throwing for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, including that walk-off to Mecole Hardman in overtime. College hoops, Aztecs took an overtime loss in Nevada on Friday night, 70-66. San Diego State finding themselves one game back of Utah State, with about half the Mountain West schedule season behind them. Tomorrow night, boys are back at Viejas Arena taking on Colorado State at 6 o'clock. We got tickets for you coming up on the show today. And as football fades to the rearview mirror, baseball is here. Padres pitchers and catchers are in Peoria as of yesterday. The rest of the team reporting on the 16th as the team gets ready to open up their season in Seoul, South Korea against the Dodgers on March 20th. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. Happy Monday to those who celebrate. We're back on a Super Bowl Monday. And what a Super Bowl it was. The Kansas City Chiefs win back-to-back in dramatic fashion. And this is all following really our Super Bowl. So Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, for the first time in the existence of this morning show, took the show on the road. And everybody out there who's listening to us, everybody who was a part of putting together the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch tailgate party, that was an unbelievable time for us. It was a great party. Tony Kanja, Lydia Kanja over at KMB Bistro, the staff here at iHeart, the sales team, especially Dom, who was instrumental putting this together. There's a lot of people to thank. I don't want to bore anybody with that, but let's just say, as it turns out, we know how to throw a party, and we are excited to throw the next one.
Absolutely. And how many different past Bar Cart Friday representatives walked up and they're like, yeah, so I don't know, next week, do you want me to come in? Yeah, we'll do it again.
And we'll run it back.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. And yeah, it was really a lot of fun to see a lot of our past participants in Bar Cart Friday. A lot of booze was drank, I would argue.
Oh man, yeah, there was lots. There was a lot that just kept coming. Just kept coming.
All of us needed rides home. We needed a ride to Carrie's house, who won the 65-inch big screen TV. Congratulations to Carrie.
That's right.
But members of Jamie, actually, from our promotion staff, threw us in the back of Ben's truck along with the TV.
I think you mean Lil Scott Stapp.
Yeah, dude. We blasted Creed, and when finally a song came on that he recognized and he could sing the lyrics to, he is '90s Scott Stapp. That is who
he's got
is.
The hair. Dude, it's him. It's him.
Incredible time. So yeah, and apologies to Carrie's neighbors, because as we were driving up to his house, we were hammered singing '90s rock. So anyways, it was an awesome time had by all. We appreciate it. Which moves us on. So you tailgate for the big game at the big game tailgate party.
Right.
And then two days later, we have the big game.
That's right. And it was a big game.
It certainly was. Super Bowl 58 proved to be one of those games that, and we'll go through all the numbers, and we're going to turn this thing over a million times this morning. So I'll just say this briefly. It turned out to be one of those games where you really felt the urgency in every single moment. There was no lulls in this game. There were sloppy plays. There were amazing plays. They were there, but every play felt so impactful. And we've seen Super Bowls where not every drive, not every play really bared that weight, but this one did. This one was so close the whole way. You were on the edge of your seat. If you care about football, if you care about either of these two teams, especially, which brings us to Ben Fletcher.
Does it have to?
Yeah.
Fletch.
Thought you were going to call out today, buddy.
49. And neither one of us would have blamed you for it.
Nope. The biggest call out day of the year.
How you doing this morning, Fletch?
Not great. Shockingly. But I really haven't taken in any media since there was 0-0-0 on the clock last night. I turned the game off as soon as McCole Hardman walked in the end zone. I had to go pick Kendall up from a party she was at. I haven't listened to sports talk. I haven't watched any sports TV. I didn't listen to Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. I have no idea what the public perception is of this Super Bowl, but I know what my perception is. That was a hell of a freaking game. And I think that the 49ers outplayed 52 men on the Kansas City Chiefs roster, but all it takes is one, and that's Patrick Mahomes, who is an incredible football player and deserves all the flowers I'm sure he's getting. But man, this one stung.
Yeah, I mean, it was a heartbreaker if you're a 49er fan, that's for sure. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan called a bad game. I don't think Brock Purdy played a bad game. But man, oh man, all of a sudden when you go, yeah, you've got this high-powered offense, whew, man, everything's clicking well. The defense is absolutely incredible. Special teams, a few issues there.
There's one of your coaches, I think, because you say this, like 3 plays dictate a football game. I can name the 3 right now. Yeah. It was the muff punt, it was a Christian McCaffrey fumble, and it was the back-to-back penalties on Trent Williams in the first quarter.
You're missing one. You're missing one.
Well, I'm talking just from the Niners' perspective. Well, and the blocked field goal, or the blocked PAT, but that was honestly Jake Moody's fault.
If that PAT is not blocked, that game ends in regulation, one way or another.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild when stuff like that happens.
Now, right? Are you convinced that the Chiefs wouldn't have scored a touchdown? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not convinced of that. I'm
just
saying
6 seconds on the clock. They kicked the field goal. I'm not convinced Mahomes wouldn't have found a way to get in the end zone.
You know what was pretty interesting to see is when Mahomes, when the game started out and the way Kansas City was coming out on the field and just not able to move the ball, the offense just wasn't working well. I texted you guys and said, man, this looks like midseason Kansas City Chiefs. That's what it looks like. Except Patrick Mahomes never had that look of frustration. The pouty Patrick Mahomes was never there, which told me everything was still working okay. They just hadn't put all the pieces together yet. And then all of a sudden it did. I mean, they look, hats off to him, man. It's unbelievable. Every single time he has the ball in his hand, you expect something big to happen. And that final drive was absolutely ridiculous.
It really was. And it'll be the type of stuff that will immortalize him in sports history. You know, Patrick Mahomes has just made a star stuff. Back-to-back Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, all before he's 28 years old. He's tied now Joe Montana for second most Super Bowl MVPs. He is 2 behind Brady, who has 5 Super Bowl MVPs. He's on Brady's trail. I don't know if he's close to catching him. Brady has 7 Super Bowl championships. He has 3. Brady went through about close to a 10-year slump where you can't even call it a slump. He was in the playoffs every single year. He was winning AFC championship games. He was appearing in Super Bowls, but he lost in the playoffs, let's say that, or in Super Bowls for about an 8 or 9 year slump, and then resumed winning Super Bowls again. So as long as Mahomes, and this is so crazy to say out loud, keeps winning at this pace, if there is no slowdown, what we were saying about Brady very recently, mind you, that no one will ever catch him. That statement is off the table because Patrick Mahomes somehow can.
Not only is it off the table, I think it's likely. This was the year to knock off the Chiefs. Like, I think we all need to be very clear about that. This was Patrick Mahomes with a massive salary cap. This is the Chiefs without a wide receiver 1 for most of the year until Rashee Rice stepped up, and Travis Kelce really had a down year too until the postseason. This was the year where you were supposed to be able to take advantage of the Chiefs, and you couldn't do it. Because Patrick Mahomes is too damn good. And Andy Reid is too damn good.
But did it feel in some weird way at the end of that game that we might have seen the end of the Chiefs dynasty?
Maybe this iteration.
Yeah, I think dynasties, they don't look the same when they end than when they start, and they go through a lot of changes. Like, for example, they won the Super Bowl last year without Tyreek Hill. Nobody thought they'd be able to. And the season didn't start out perfect. They got off to a little bit of a rough start, but then they pulled it together in the regular season, and they looked like the same old Chiefs going into the postseason. This year, though, they didn't. I completely agree with everything Fletch just said, and I understand like your concern or thought that maybe this could be the end of the road for the Chiefs. but it's not from this standpoint. Players don't stay stagnant.
Mhm.
They get better. So all the young guys on this team are going to be 1 year more experienced. And by the way, they all won a Super Bowl together.
Yeah.
And so assuming they avoid a slump, which Andy Reid marvelously, along with Patrick Mahomes, obviously have avoided, then this team's going to be better next year. And then they're going to obviously add what? More receivers, because they clearly need more receivers.
Think about how young this Chiefs team is.
Yeah.
So this defense, if you look at the team that played against the 49ers 4 years ago in the Super Bowl, when the Chiefs won that one, Chris Jones is the only remaining defensive player.
Youngest defense in the league.
The rest of them all weren't in the league when that Super Bowl happened. So when you think about how young this defense is and how good those cornerbacks are, the Chiefs only can go up from here if they're able to keep that defense intact and then just fill in pieces around Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback on the planet.
Fletch, you said it early in the game. There was a couple fumbles, one by McCaffrey. The other one was Pacheco. Right. Rich, I ask you this. If you have that week off, you're not getting hit for a week. Is that the cause of some sloppy play early on? And then you kind of go, okay, I dusted that off. Now, oh, yeah, that's right. I got to hang on to it like this.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. Like coming out of training camp early in the season when your body's not as battle tested, mistakes like that, like the physical mistakes, rear their heads more. So yeah, some of the pass interference, which obviously they call way less in the postseason and Super Bowl, but getting out of position and then using your hands more than your feet if you're on the outside, or holds from the offensive line, or frankly from the defensive line, like that sort of stuff, fumbles. All of it happens more in the beginning of the season, because you're coming out of like the weird preseason where you're playing a little bit, but you haven't had especially if you're a starter, a ton of game action, and you kind of have to piece it all together. So coming out of a bye week, it absolutely could be a reason. We were talking about the youth on the Chiefs roster from wide receiver standpoint. It was a 5th-year wide receiver in McCole Hardman to ice the game. Really funny interaction with Patrick Mahomes after the game, because there was obviously a dais built, talking to the crew there after the game and celebrating the win. The confetti's behind them in the backdrop, and McCole Hardman's being interviewed. Patrick Mahomes hops on the stage, and here's what he said about that final play after the touchdown.
I'll tell a quick funny story. Please. I threw a touchdown to this dude at the end of the game. And he looked at me, I said, and he had no idea. I said, dude, we just won the Super Bowl. And he said he blacked out. He had no idea. I was like, bro, look, he didn't even celebrate at the beginning. I'm like, what are we doing?
There was, when he caught the ball, it was just kind of a pause. Like, wait. Oh, it ended.
Yeah, he caught the ball, and then it took Patrick Mahomes to run all the way down to the end zone. And you saw him shouting something to Hardman, and then all of a sudden Hardman's just like, oh, he starts freaking out too. As it turns out, he had to alert him that the game was over. It was incredible.
It was pretty fun. God, man, I guess I didn't realize that it was just going to go into quarter 2 of overtime. I thought the thing started over again. Like we were going to do another coin toss, which I'm going, this is bizarre. This is insane what's happening. By the way, on that overtime coin flip, why wouldn't the Niners deflect? Why wouldn't
defer?
Yeah.
Kyle talked about it, and he said his thinking was he wanted to be able to control the whole overtime. And if you go out and score a touchdown first, then you will have the third possession if the Chiefs were to respond. So his logic actually made sense. I listened to it briefly, but I was also a little peeved they didn't go for the deferral. And then when I heard him talking about it, I was like, oh no, that makes sense. So if that was your plan going in, I'll try to find the audio.
They changed the rules recently where there will be sudden death. Well, sudden death in the regular season, but if you score a touchdown in the postseason, it can be matched. And so I get the reasoning for both. I don't know what I would prefer. I guess because of the way the old rules are or were, my head's still on the side of I'd rather have the ball, and I'd rather control our own destiny right out the gate and force the team opposing to score a touchdown to tie us or score a touchdown to win, assuming we have a successful drive with points on the board, and just sort of know my fate. It's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, because we're talking about 1 quarter of action. So there you go, the response that we were looking for. He also spoke about being being ahead on the scoreboard in the Super Bowl to two of the best quarterbacks to ever play. Remember when he was with the Atlanta Falcons as an offensive coordinator in a Super Bowl, he faced Tom Brady, and that team famously came back from being down 27-3. In this Super Bowl, they were ahead of the Chiefs 10 points at one point.
28-3. It was even worse.
Oh, yeah, it was 28-3. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they were ahead by 10 points against Patrick Mahomes. Here's what he had to say about facing those two in a Super Bowl.
And this is my second game as a head coach. But I think when you go against guys like Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes, you better never feel comfortable with the lead. I mean, those are two of the best players to ever play the game. And that's why when you have a lead or you're down points, those guys are always in it. You watch them all the time do that stuff.
How'd you feel about Brock Purdy, Fletch, as a big Brock Purdy fan?
I thought he had a couple of chances to put the nail in the coffin, and he didn't do it. Now, I think a big part of that is Chris Jones being on top of him in those chances. I mentioned to you guys over text, I was like, Chris Jones has single-handedly wrecked this game for the 49ers at one point because he had two different passes that I've seen Brock Purdy make a lot, and they both would have been touchdowns. One was to Deebo Samuel, one was to Juwan Jennings, and both times Chris Jones was right in his face when he made the throw, and both throws were errant. So I thought the nail in the coffin opportunities were there. I think there's clearly a massive canyon between Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes, but I think Brock Purdy played good enough to win. I think the issues for San Francisco in this game were early penalties, early fumble, missed PAT.
Yeah, Brock Purdy did okay. I thought he played actually a great game. But you're right. To me, if you put Patrick Mahomes on the 49ers, all of a sudden the score is 50 to whatever. 3.
Yeah.
Because there were multiple times where Brock Purdy overthrew his target. There were multiple times that he should have made a play and he was unable to because he had hands in his face. So I mean that's where experience comes in. That's where this level of play between a Brock Purdy and a Patrick Mahomes comes in. It was a great game. I'm not trying to take anything away from Brock Purdy, but man, Patrick Mahomes, you could tell is light years above him.
It's the only story of the day. The Kansas City Chiefs won Super Bowl 58, and it happened in dramatic fashion. Patrick Mahomes, named the game's MVP, led the Chiefs on their final 75-yard, 13-play drive, including running for 27 yards on that drive. That pair of carries was on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. 4 conversions kept the drive alive before hitting Mecole Hardman, his receiver, in the end zone on a 3-yard walk-off score with 3 seconds left on the clock in OT. The Chiefs take down the San Francisco 49ers 25-22. Mahomes, who's only 28, and we mentioned this earlier, he has now won 3 Super Bowl MVPs, tying Joe Montana, only 2 behind Tom Brady, who has 5. He threw for 333, completed 34 of 46 attempts, 2 touchdown passes, had the pick earlier in the game, ran for 66 more yards. Travis Kelce, by the way, Kansas City Chiefs tight end, was their leading receiver, and he was the leading receiver in the game with 9 catches on 10 targets for 93 yards. And Taylor Swift earned herself 12 cutaways from the CBS broadcast during the game. So
during the game, from kickoff to kickoff, that was the number 12?
12 cutaways.
Smashing the over.
Yeah, no doubt. But so before kickoff, there had to have been a dozen.
Oh, my gosh.
And then after kickoff, there had to have been 2 dozen.
And
Okay,
by the
but
way,
when you're looking at that booth, that suite she was in, Blake Lively was stunning.
Thank you.
dude.
My God.
Thank you.
So Blake Lively.
And she didn't have a ring on. People are talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Blake, licks fingers, fixes eyebrows. I don't know if you're looking on YouTube this morning, but no, listen, Annie's asleep. She'd be pissed.
And Ryan Reynolds won't kill
please.
you.
Oh, please, yeah.
Oh, what's he gonna do? Come after me with all that money?
Yeah, light work, Fletch. Yeah. No, look, it was interesting to see how many cutaways there were on the CBS broadcast versus what I ended up watching the majority of the time, which was the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Did you really?
Yeah, like very much so.
I flipped over to the Nickelodeon broadcast and laughed a lot. There were some funny moments. At one point, they showed Travis Kelce, and then for the bottom third on his name, it said Taylor Swift's boyfriend. And then for his description, pretty good at football.
So there were several things about the broadcast that were funny enough for adults to keep you entertained enough. For my son, the first ever Super Bowl since he, can make decisions on his own, where he actually sat on my lap and we're watching the game together. He's 8 years old. He's barely watched any football. He's not a huge sports fan, but because he kept saying to me, he's like, you know what my favorite part of this game is? I'm waiting for him to be like, we're watching Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback to ever play. I don't know. Andy Reid looks like a walrus. What is it, son? And he goes, it's because it's live from Bikini Bottom. And then he would just be like, it was hysterical. So anyways, a really good job by them. Nate Burleson, who does color analysis on the Nickelodeon call, did a great job. And Patrick Star and SpongeBob SquarePants, they were the analysts on the game.
Yeah.
They were in like the little box in the corner of the screen. It was, I don't know, it was good. But they went to Taylor Swift constantly.
Well,
I mean, it was almost after every play. I was just like, and here we are again.
Did they happen to catch Taylor Swift chugging the beer?
They did not have that on the kids' broadcast.
I guess it was on the Jumbotron, right?
Yeah, that was pretty impressive, actually. I mean,
it doesn't hold a candle to Big Rich.
No, but better than me.
Although I will say this, it does sort of feel like a showdown has to happen at some point. And since
I bet you could finish 3 in the time she took to finish the 1.
I would look. I mean,
we can side by side the video.
We want to give her a puncher's chance, right? So we can welcome her in studio. Maybe we could put it out on social media, like, "Hey, this is what you're chasing."
Right.
We're all under the same brand here. Yeah, we'll see. Here's the deal about Brock Purdy, and I thought Brock handled everything exceedingly well. And as a matter of fact, he spoke after the game too. And this is what leadership sounds like. This is what you want to hear from your starting quarterback after a tough loss. This was Brock Purdy after losing to the Chiefs in overtime, Super Bowl 58.
I got to be better in terms of, leading the guys. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think we have the team, the offense to score touchdowns. And I think I failed to put our team in position to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's the deal. Every time that the quarterback leaves the field, their job is to have the lead. The last time Brock Purdy left the field in Super Bowl 58, he had the lead. He gave them the lead. The problem is you were up against Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes went down on that final drive, 8 for 8, 42 yards. He ran for 27, threw the touchdown. I mean, it's unbelievable.
But what you need to have is belief. If you're going to be great at anything, it has to start with the words I can, not I can't. Like if you start this game saying I can't beat Patrick Mahomes, there'd be no chance of winning this Super Bowl. Brock Purdy, where he's speaking from is a platitude of I'm going to come back and get better. How do you get better? By never admitting that you're done growing, you're done excelling, you're done striving. Like the bar has been set. And by the way, he set an awfully high bar for himself over now parts of 2 seasons. This being his first season fully healthy in the NFL, fully as a starter in the NFL, and he went all the way to the Super Bowl. That is doing a lot. So he's got the right mentality. I thought he handled the loss well. Look, did he look as good as Jalen Hurts in a loss last year against the Chiefs? No. Jalen Hurts was clearly the best quarterback on the field in that game. Patrick Mahomes just made a couple more plays. And by the way, Jalen Hurts fumbled a football that was really consequential for his team's success. But did he play well enough to win a Super Bowl? I'd argue, yeah, Brock Purdy did play well enough to win a Super Bowl, and he would have if the Chiefs didn't.
The 49ers offense was averaging 6.8 carries per play. The Chiefs were at 6.6. So the 49er offense was at a better clip than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, splitting hairs, right?
Right.
They were both progressing. They both had the football for a good amount of time. I mean, there's not a lot of team stats where you look at and you say, oh, well, the Chiefs had a huge edge because ... It just really did come down to a couple of plays.
But the one stat that they do have the big hedge, points off turnovers.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to
muff
capitalize
punt, they
off
go
the
and score right away. The Niners get the fumble, do nothing with it. The Niners get the interception, do nothing with
100%.
Yep.
Completely agree with that.
But, I mean, when you're talking about splitting hairs, obviously, the thing went 75 minutes.
Yeah. And it was a great game. And look, I think another thing that's ridiculously impressive that we haven't mentioned, in the 3 wins in the Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes, his team was down by at least 10 in all of them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is the GOAT stat that we will look back on.
It's remarkable how clutch certain players are. I had a great privilege of playing with Tom Brady, and you never counted yourself out. And I remember it extended beyond my career because I remember watching the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl, and my dad was almost ready to turn it off. I was watching it with my parents. They came in town. They were visiting us here in San Diego. And I was like, they're still in this game. He was like, they're down 28-3. I'm like, there's way too much time on the clock to be talking this way. That's Tom Brady out there. Well, guess what? Now Patrick Mahomes is the prototype. Now everybody is searching for their Patrick Mahomes. And when Patrick Mahomes is on the field and there's time left on the clock, you believe there's a way for the Chiefs to win, and that's exactly what they did.
Good luck, man. I'm looking around the league. There isn't another one.
Maybe. I mean, but that's what we said about Tom Brady. Here
Yeah, but
comes Mahomes.
they're so different, Mahomes and Brady.
I get it. And the next one will be different, a little different from the two of them.
It still feels like Josh Allen will have his time. I mean,
not as long as Mahomes is there.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
It's crazy.
Josh Allen's going to be a great Peyton Manning butting up against the GOAT.
Yeah.
There was a lot of attention paid to Taylor Swift during this game. There was even more attention paid to her boyfriend, who also plays football, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this, but Travis Kelce, there was a little bit of controversy on the field that had made football fans raise eyebrows and Swifties worry about Taylor's future. We're going to get into that coming up next. But before we run, I want to talk to everybody about Ocean View Dental. You've heard me talk about Dr. Jordan Colby many, many times. He's my dentist. He's my doctor. He's the only dentist I'll trust from now until he's done with dentistry, to be perfectly honest with you. Go to oceanviewdental.net if you're searching for a new dentist. Here's why. Not only is he great with all of the, the routine stuff, teeth cleanings, you got to have a cavity filled or something like that. Everybody wants to avoid anything further, a root canal, etc. But if you're going to have any of that type of work done, you need to go to Dr. Jordan Colby. I had a lot of work I needed done. I had a tooth extraction. I needed 3 implants to be put in. I was actually really scared and worried about when to squeeze this into the schedule because I was told by my former dentist that this would take 18 months. Well, I met with Dr. Jordan Colby, and he told me it would take 3 months. He also told me that every appointment would happen in his office in Oceanside, as opposed to being sent all over San Diego to multiple different places to get imaging done, to talk to an endodontist, to do this, to do that. It all happened in his office, and I have a winning smile as a result of it, confidence when I'm chewing my food because most of the teeth I had implanted were molars. It was a lot of work, and not only was it done on the timeline he explained to me, 3 months, almost to the day, but also it was basically pain-free. I showed up for work the next day. I didn't miss a single day broadcasting, and I'm on the radio 7 days a week. His motto, no matter your situation, he can help you create a confident and healthy smile. Ocean View Dental patients come from all over Southern California. So should you. Visit oceanviewdental.net. That's oceanviewdental.net.
Travis Kelce has shown his true colors. Taylor Swift may be in danger. We'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by the Jim Trail Real Estate Team. Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl 25-22 in overtime over the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes gets his third Super Bowl MVP at 28 years old. Chiefs win their third Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Mahomes throwing for 333 yards, 2 touchdown passes, including the walk-off touchdown in OT to Mecole Hardman. College hoops, Aztecs took an overtime loss at Nevada on Friday night, 70-66. San Diego State finding themselves one game back at Utah State. Boys are back on the court tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. They got Colorado State, 6 o'clock tip-off. We got tickets for you coming up on the show today. And as football fades to the rearview mirror, baseball is here. The Padres pitchers and catchers, they reported to Peoria yesterday for spring training. The rest of the team reporting on the 16th as they get ready to open up their season early in Seoul, South Korea against the Dodgers on March 20th. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Buttrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Hey, big thanks again to all the hangers, the bangers, the roadies, the dogs, everybody who made it out to the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch big game tailgate over at K&B Bistro. Keg and Bottle, 10 locations all throughout San Diego County last Friday. We had an absolute blast. It was fantastic, man, getting to put faces to names, getting some pictures of everybody, shaking hands, high-fiving. It was just an absolutely perfect time. Also today on the show, we got a pair of tickets to go see Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 31st. Tickets and info at livenation.com, or just keep listening for your chance to win. We also have a pair of tickets to Aztecs versus Colorado State tomorrow night, Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. Tickets and info there. Go Aztecs.com. Yeah, pump that up.
Yeah, baby.
Safe to say that's
Give me some
our
more of that royalty-free music. I need more of my headphones.
safe to say that's our first inaugural big game tailgate.
Yeah. I mean,
that's gonna happen again. Yeah.
We did get asked that a lot. Are you gonna do this every year?
So
we're gonna do it every week, pal.
The sincere hope is that we can throw a party, during the Super Bowl time every year. I don't know if it'll necessarily always be, the day before the weekend of the Super Bowl. And the reason being is because, in the future, we may be at the Super Bowl site. So it will definitely be during Super Bowl time where we will throw the big game tailgate party. we'll figure that out in years to come. But 100%, we're going to run that back next year,
Yeah,
just like the Kansas City Chiefs.
If we are at the Super Bowl, we should still throw a tailgate party
At the Super Bowl.
the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Actually,
it's just the three of us.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should still tailgate, and then we'll just live stream it.
Yeah, I'm sure people will come join us.
Yeah, actually, that would be a lot of fun. Like have listeners win a trip out to join us wherever we are for the big game.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Speaking of Super Bowl 58, Travis Kelce, obviously the leading receiver in the game, 9 catches, 93 yards. Warm embrace from his girlfriend after the game, coming down from the podium, hoisting the Lombardi trophy. Here was an interesting thing, though. Travis Kelce and Andy Reid got into it pretty ferociously on the sideline. Travis Kelce shouting red-faced into his head coach's ear after bumping him. He gave him kind of a shoulder check.
Gave him a little pop there.
Yeah.
To me, if I were Andy Reid, I'd be like, bye. You're gone, pal. See you later. It cost you the game, but I'd say bye.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
No,
I agree.
No.
It's like legitimately the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Bye.
No way. This was
No
a little more demonstrative, but it's not like we haven't seen something like this before. I think the bump is what's getting people really riled up. And TD, I've heard a lot of people agree with you who are like, oh my God, I've lost all respect I ever had for Travis Kelce. How dare you do that to your head coach, showing him up on the sideline? I've seen players yell at a lot of coaches. Richie, I'm sure you've yelled at a lot of coaches.
Of course.
Like that happens. I think that the bump is where people are going over the top, which it was a pretty good bump, and Andy Reid almost went down.
Football is a contact sport. You're
not for coaches.
You're talking about legitimate psychopaths and warriors out there fighting, risking injury. Adrenaline is running insanely high. And so it's gotten physical between coaches and players and coaches. And all of that stuff usually occurs without a camera catching it. And I'm not saying it happens often, but I've seen it. In fact, I recall a time after having a penalty in a game, one of my offensive line coaches walked off the field, walked straight over to me where I was sitting on a stationary bicycle, just kind of like trying to get the last play out of my head on the sideline. And he hauled off and slapped me across my bare ass face. Like,
oh, you could have owned his house,
dude. And no, I have respect for him. What I said, he was like, hey, after he hit me, and like my eyes went red, and then I saw the look he was giving me. It was a look of like concern and like compassion. And he was like, you all right? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, all right, snap out of it. And he walked away from me. And it's exactly what I needed. It was like having a splash of cold water on my face. It was like, hey, buddy, we have to have you play better. Everything was communicated that needed to be communicated with an open hand smack. It was wild. So trust me when I tell you, and that wasn't the first and it wasn't the last time it got physical with a coach. Like, and by the way, there have been plenty of times where I've grabbed a coach by his collar and I've shouted expletives in his face. And guess what? After that, you move on with your life. So Andy Reid did the right thing. He obviously knows one of his best players was hyper emotional at the moment. And here's what he said post-game. Of course, he does what no other coach can do. He turns this negative experience into a super positive.
Yeah, he caught me off balance. I wasn't watching. Cheap shot, but that's all right. He did good. He was really coming over just put me in. I'll score. So that's really what it was. Well, I love that. I mean, it's not the first time. So I appreciate him.
Right here. I hated it. I hated every bit of that.
A lot of people did, but to Travis Kelce's defense, he wasn't on the field and a catastrophic mistake happened. This was right after the Pacheco fumble. Travis Kelce felt like if he was in that red zone package, one of the tight ends missed the block, the guy who was in for him.
Wait, does Travis Kelce block?
No, that's right. But the play call could have been to Travis Kelce, I believe is what he was telling Andy Reid. Not necessarily that he would have made the block, but that, okay, well, we're 5 yards to the end zone. Why am I not in the game? This is where I eat.
I mean, I get the argument, but give me a break. Swifties are now saying, look, this clean-cut, perfect guy image now broken, shattered. Red flags all over the place. Taylor Swift, blink twice if you need us to intervene. Okay.
So that's the funniest part of all this. And by the way, look, anybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, taking him out of the game, though, just to go back to what you said, would have been a monumentally stupid thing to do.
The game's over.
Because the game's over, you lose. And then as a head coach, you lose your job. Like, that's what we're talking about. This isn't like high school football where, hey, look, at the end of the game, we're all having orange wedges together and let's learn a good lesson game. This is professional football. It could take one bad decision to completely ruin a legacy you've built for years. And so Andy Reid's hyper aware of that. And now, does he want to be vigilant to have conversations with Travis to try to control those outbursts? Of course he should. But in the Super Bowl, when your star player has one catch for 1.5 yards and he comes up to you, gives you a belly bump, goes, what the hell are we doing? You know what? He might have a point. Maybe Andy Reid needed a little bit of a shoulder check to get out of his own way and start calling plays for number 87.
I don't like the fact you're trying to make so much sense here and sway my position. I don't appreciate it.
But
okay?
is it making sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense, but I'm telling you, it kind of pisses me off.
No,
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
If I
because
can-
Andy Reid is like America's grandpa now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's like the nicest little walrus out there on the field.
Now that we don't have Wilford Brimley, we all turn to Andy Reid for our diabetes testing supplies.
You have absolutely nailed it. That's exactly correct.
And nobody,
Now I'm back on board. Keep Travis Kelce out of here.
nobody hits Grandpa
Yeah.
Travis. Nobody.
He got diabetes.
Can I ride the middle before Rich tells us how good he looks? Okay, riding the middle on this.
Yeah.
It is a bad look.
It's I agree with both of you that it's a bad look. The only thing that I disagree with was there no way, shape, or form should he be removed from the game.
I was so angry.
So wait.
I was legit pissed off.
This happens in high school football or high school basketball or even college football or basketball. I think the player does get benched and probably told to go to the locker room. But
It's highly but even then, like, think about Nick Saban if a player did that to him. Now, like,
I've seen it happen in high school. I was on the bench when one of my teammates pushed up on a coach, and that teammate was the best player on our team, and he got kicked off the team then and there.
I remember one time something happened. I forget what it was in New England, but somebody's excuse was, well, Tom did. Oh, it was Brian Hoyer. It was my old buddy. So he's a backup quarterback and he screwed something all the way up. And he goes, yeah, but that's how Tom does it. And whatever coach it was, it might've been my offensive line coach, but somebody walked up to him and just goes, well, he's Tom effing Brady and you're not.
Take a lap.
It was literally like, take a lap. I was just like, oh, right. So, yeah, there are different rules for different people. It's a good thing just to note it and just moving on now.
Did you guys notice at the big game tailgate, the one thing that kept being said over and over again?
What was that?
Holy crap, you guys actually did lose the weight.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, we're wandering around K&B Bistro, and thank you to Tony and Lydia for allowing us to have our big game tailgate party at your place. But yeah, the number one thing all three of us heard from everybody who listens to this show every day or watches us on YouTube, which adds about 20 pounds,
Right.
is the fact that we look skinny in person. And that's all thanks to Wayne and Chloe, our weight loss team over at sdfatloss.com. It's been an incredible transformation. I went from being confused with a Macy's Thanksgiving Day blimp to being to being now like an actual human, like where I don't need ropes tethered to me and having people holding me to earth.
Yeah, I mean, you could feel all the eyeballs just staring us up and down as we walked around K&B Bistro.
People were
We're
like,
just getting hot.
people were like feeling our abdomens and saying, where did it all go? And I said, well, you could call up the number I don't have in front of me or go to sdfatloss.com. That's
right.
what you can do. Let's start there with your web browser on your phone, sdfatloss.com. No, so Wayne and Chloe, they're awesome. They guided us through this whole lifestyle change in this process of losing weight, something that we all tried to do many, many times and actually had a little success at times, but then gained it all the way back. That's yo-yo dieting. We were guilty. A lot of people are. Look, New Year's resolutions have come and passed, right? It's mid-February now. There have been some people who probably dropped a significant amount of weight and by this point have already gained it back. If you are coming off of your Super Bowl party and you're saying, okay, it really is, it's time for me to change something, I suggest you go to sdfatloss.com just like we did. Set up your free consultation with Wayne and Chloe just like we did. Follow their advice just like we did and lose a tremendous amount of weight just like we did. Travis is down over 30 pounds. I'm down over 35. Fletch is still going. He's nearing 50 pounds down from where we started. Absolutely incredible program. Again, it all starts at sdfatloss.com. Okay, coming up next, the NFL reps refuse to show this commercial, but we won't. That's on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on a Monday morning. Not just any Monday morning, a Monday that we will continue to campaign to be a national holiday. The fact that anybody works on Super Bowl Monday, it doesn't make any sense. I think if there's a candidate, and it's an election year, that runs on this platform, red, blue, green, purple. I don't care what party you come from. You're getting my vote.
We're talking to you, candidates. It is an election year.
Glad you brought that, because I saw one political commercial last night. Maybe I
Glad
missed
you
some,
brought that up.
but wasn't it Bobby Kennedy Jr.? He was the only like campaign commercial I saw.
Oh, interesting. You know, I missed a lot of the commercials because the first 2.5 quarters, I was listening to the broadcast of Kevin Harlan.
Oh,
who
he's
does
amazing.
an incredible job.
Were you listening when the streaker came on the field?
Yes.
Was he
and
good? Because I haven't heard that yet.
Very tame. He called them interlopers.
Oh,
But it was so good.
But
because he
talk
can't
about
help himself.
setting a bar high for yourself. Kevin Harlan in the Super Bowl with his streakers on the field, that is one of the greatest radio calls of all time.
Yeah.
I was curious last night when the streaker happened if Kevin Harlan was doing it.
He goes, and Kurt, all of a sudden we have a little bit of an issue on the field. The interlopers have been taken care of, and we will wait until they drag them kicking and screaming off the field before we return to action. And then Kurt right back into, and Patrick Mahomes is out here, he's dishing and damning, so it was brief, but he just can't help himself. They tell broadcaster, I've been told this before, don't even bring it up.
And Tony Romo said the quiet part out loud. He's like, "Oh wait, Jim, we're not supposed to be talking about this guy."
Right.
Tony
Which,
Romo sucked last night. by
prop
the way.
bet number 11, by the way, will there be a streaker at any point? We all said no, absolutely not, and absolutely no way.
Oh, wow.
But I will say it was only like a half streaker. It's his shirt off.
Yeah, you got to go full Monty.
Still a
Right.
streaker.
Yeah, we need to see what you're working
Now,
with.
the 4 commercials I did see that left me head scratching, there's like 4 Jesus commercials, and I'm like, that's fine.
AI Jesus.
But they were talking about like Jesus washes feet, he doesn't spread hate, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. But you just spent $28 million on Jesus commercials. Jesus wouldn't spend $28 million on the Super Bowl.
Well, here's the crazy thing, man. You're talking about I guess it would be the Catholic Church. I don't know who sponsored those ads. Like I said, I missed
It's some website.
Okay. You're talking about some of the deepest pockets in the world is the religion pocket. So, I mean, whatever that was, 21 million or
I think it was
28 million.
28.
Yeah, that is a drop in the ocean, my friend. Yeah.
So, something tells me they may have gotten a break if they bought 4.
That's
maybe it was 25 mil.
Package deal.
Yeah,
We're gonna shave off 3 mil for you and JC. All right. Well, one ad that didn't get played, and I just watched this before we got on the broadcast. Travis brought this to all of our attention. TD. So set this up. This is Cardi B.
This is Cardi B. She has a new line of makeup, a lip makeup. So when you want to make those duck lips,
You just almost got showered with coffee.
it's called. I'm a little bummed it didn't air, to be quite honest. It's called Duck Plump, and this was the ad that they would not play last night. Wait, there's not the end. Do you think it worked though? Yeah, I mean that was the ad. It was a 60-second ad that did not make it to air, and now it's being aired by idiots like us.
Yeah.
So I mean, besides the production costs,
It worked.
yeah, it works.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy a Duck Plump, but I promise you, if I find out it has the effects that we're talking about.
Now, Rich, you're the only person here who can do the Cardi B. There it is.
Yeah.
He really nails it.
Every time. I'll tell you what, that is back pocket for me. Anytime you need somebody to growl sexually at somebody, just give me a buzz.
There's never not a good time for that.
All right, guys. A lot of people upset because the big game is over. Football is over. What do? I don't know. Well, go ahead and download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code Fletch. Get yourself a first deposit match up to $100. There's tons of stuff to explore. I'm finding new things every single day, and it was great winning 25 times my money this football season. But now I can move on, and it's sad, but I will move on. Season-long MLB projections are up on the free or on the Prize Picks app. You can download it. Use promo code Fletch. Get a first deposit match up to $100, and that is what I will be placing on my season-long MLB prediction.
Love that.
And that's coming soon, man. I cannot wait to unleash that one. But Prize Picks, it's the best on the continent because they offer that reboot policy that keeps your entries in play even if one of your players gets injured. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250. Hell, you can even 100x your money if you're playing with the demons. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Get on over to the App Store, download the Prize Picks app, use promo code Fletch, get a first deposit match up to $100. Start testing your skills out today. prizepicks.com/Fletch. It's hour 2 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Lexus El Cajon. Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl 25-22 in overtime over the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes racking up his third Super Bowl MVP at 28 years old. Chiefs winning their third Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Mahomes throwing for 333 yards, 2 touchdown passes, including the walk-off touchdown in overtime to McCole Hardman. College hoops. Aztecs took an overtime loss to Nevada on Friday night, 70-66. The boys will be back at Viejas Arena tomorrow, taking on Colorado State at 6 o'clock. We got tickets for that coming up on the show today. And as football fades, baseball comes to the limelight. The Padres pitchers and catchers, they are in Peoria as of yesterday. The rest of the team reporting on the 16th as they get ready to open up their season a little bit earlier, March 20th. Padres are taking on the Dodgers in Seoul, South Korea. Experience true luxury at Lexus El Cajon. Get a great deal on any Lexus and see why they're ranked #1 for customer service. LexusElCajon.com. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon.
Good morning and happy Super Bowl Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. What a game it was. Super Bowl 58 in the books. The Chiefs are back-to-back champs. And we are celebrating ourselves. We're feeling it a little bit, man. We had a very, very busy weekend. So, yeah, Super Bowl 58. Everybody's gunned up and gussied up. You know, you got the chips to dip. You got some chicken wings out.
Makes you want some sombreros.
Yeah, man. Oh, my gosh. Who, by the way, we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to as well. And everybody who came out for the big game tailgate party. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. That was the first time we took the show on the road. And to call this a party, I think it undersells what happened. There was a damn live goat in a restaurant where we were doing a live broadcast and we were feeding it potato chips. Like, that's how wild this party got.
From our mouths.
I have close-up video of Travis Dale feeding Lucy the big game goat, a live goat again in a restaurant. Chips, who, by the way, Lydia Kanja, who owns K&B Bistro, Tony Kanja, our very good friend, owner of K&B Bistro as well, and Keg and Bottle, 10 locations throughout San Diego. He goes, look, he's like, the goat's outside. Lydia's not thrilled, but we're just gonna, like, if you guys could go out to the patio and say hello to the goat. And then all of a sudden, within 15 minutes, it's like Tony couldn't help himself. He's like, all right, guys, I welcome the goat into the restaurant. The goat is literally right over there.
The goat's standing next to us.
As we're talking, we're like, yeah, so we're not sure about Brock Purdy.
I look over at Lydia and I can see her mouthing, why is there an effing goat?
So a huge thanks to Diane and Louie, who came out all the way from Alpine.
Right. Gotoga.com.
Yeah.
That's where you got to go.
If you want to do goat yoga, they've got you covered.
Which I also think we drunkenly promised to go do goat yoga.
Several times.
Yeah.
It feels like.
The three of us, anytime we got near them, we're like, we're coming out. We're going to do a live broadcast in Alpine at sunrise with the goats. And I still think that's a great idea.
Yes.
I still think it's a great idea. We have Aztecs tickets to give away. They're going to face Colorado State tomorrow night at Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. Also, we got a pair of tickets to Chicago Earth, Wind, and Fire playing at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's a fun show, man. And I love that it's summer, August 31st. Get tickets and info at livenation.com or just keep listening for your opportunity to win those tickets. Aztecs against the Rams and Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay, coming up in just a little bit, we got our morning monologue. I want to jump the gun on this a little bit because we were talking about Andy Reid a little bit earlier in the show. And Andy Reid had some of the best post-game press conference answers you can come up with. I mean, this guy, it's like almost like a comedy routine. So I just added this to the rundown, Fletch. It's under the 7:15. This is Andy Reid post-game. Boomer and Booger are sitting on the ESPN dais, and they're interviewing him. His wife's sitting by, and they're asking him about the last play of the game, the touchdown winning throw from Mahomes to McCole Hardman. Walk us through it. Here's that interaction.
What was the game-winning touchdown play call this year?
Yeah, believe it or not, I mean, we had corn dog last year, and that was corn dog.
That was corn dog.
This was corn dog with a little mustard and ketchup.
Corn.
Well, listen, I know you like corn.
Oh, I love him. It's nothing like it.
He's calling play. The play that McCall Hardman wins the Super Bowl on is called corn dog with extra mustard and ketchup.
Is that real?
It's 100% real.
He's not doing that. It's not a bit.
Dude, I'm telling you, we'll put in special plays sometimes, or like code names for plays sometimes. Like, well, you'll hear it sometimes. People come to the line of scrimmage, they'll be like, Oprah Winfrey. But yeah, like, I mean, it's because it says something, like, you know, a favorite song that comes out or what. I mean, like pop culture references.
Well, I think it would help you remember it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's when you give it a name, you give it a title, and it's something a little goofy. That helps you file that away.
Like I will not tell you the reason why, but there was a play call, like an audible play call, where we called it roast beef. We called it roast beef.
Oh my God!
I'm not gonna go.
Wow.
All right, morning monologues.
Wow.
Wow.
But legitimately, there was one guy on the field. There was one guy on the field who knew what we were talking about. The rest of us, we were just running inside zone to the right. But it was roast beef. Look, the point is, corn dog, whether it's corn dog, it's roast beef, it's Oprah, it's Thriller, it's, you know, you come up with, you know, little code names to stuff throughout the season and they stick, and they called the little corn dog with a little extra mustard and ketchup.
Speaking of corn dogs, did you guys make anything special for the game? You were on the road.
I was driving. So the only thing I had when I got home was like leftovers. I was literally scarfing down food from what'd you guys do? Did you
I
guys have
stress ate a quesadilla in the third quarter when the Niners had 3 yards of total offense.
Man. I made the buffalo chicken dip in the crock pot.
Nice.
We had, and then Caleb, who used to work at Round Table Pizza, I had him make some French bread pizza.
Now you're talking. Okay.
It was phenomenal.
So French bread,
Yep.
cut along, you know, like horizontally normal.
Yep.
And instead of making like garlic bread, you make a pizza on top of it.
Yeah. But the first, like the base layer is garlic butter. And then,
that sounds good.
And then you go pizza on top of that.
I have no regrets, but I stayed in my condo dark room. Like Kendall went out to
Peed
a
in
couple
jars.
different parties. No, I was locked in on the game.
Several Gatorade bottles filled with urine.
Somehow his nails grew 3/4 of an inch.
Just sweating the entire time. Jesus. Poor Brock the dog. Really, your dog went through a lot.
Oh, dude, he loved it. He
Just
had
sat
so
there
much
and
attention.
shivered.
Really
no, I
quick.
was throwing his little moose for him the whole time.
Really quick though. I mean, is there any chance you changed the dog's name to Patrick?
No.
Okay.
Look,
I'm just asking.
I am not upset.
Sam Darnold?
Like outside of the dumb mistakes, the penalties, and the muffed punt for the Niners, like I'm not upset about anything the Niners did.
How about Jake Moody? He held a record for 7 or 8 plays.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy too.
Right.
I was ready to give Jake Moody all the flowers.
I know.
And then I saw a film breakdown of why the missed PAT was his fault. Because most people, I just assumed, oh, it was blocked. That was a great play by the Chiefs. No, it was his fault.
Low trajectory.
He kicked it with his ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just look, it's like golf, right? I mean, it's the same swing.
Yeah.
A lot of kickers are really good golfers too for that reason, because it's the same level of like concentration and muscle memory. And it was just an errant swing on that leg, man. It happens.
Friday.
Okay, I'll get us started here, and then I want to hear from Fletch next, because I had a little tip off as to what he's talking. And TD, you'll bring us home here on Morning Monologues this morning. But real quick, I'm not footballed out yet.
Me neither.
Okay, and it's over. Super Bowl 58 is in the books. We got the Kansas City Chiefs as your back-to-back champs, and I wish we had at least one more week of football. And I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, because as a former player, I know how brutal this sport is on your body. And I know that it's not like everybody's contracts got bigger as a result of there being 17 games.
Sounds familiar.
But 18 games, there's an argument to be made for 18 games just from the fan standpoint. 17 game season hasn't watered down the product at all.
Nope.
It was the one thing I was concerned about was diluting the regular season, making it, supremely less important. They figured that out with this playoff structure. I don't know if I need any more teams in the playoffs. In fact, I would really say if you put in 16 teams, that would be an enormous mistake. I think they have it perfect at 14 right now. One team getting the bye. Everything should hold serve in terms of the playoffs for now. But if you add another game in the regular season, it'll offer a longer a shorter bridge to get us from the end of the football season into March Madness. And you can also own the month of February. So this is the first time I've ever said this on a broadcast or out loud to anybody. But I think the NFL should seriously consider an 18-game schedule.
So you want to add a week, not chew up a preseason game?
Actually, you know what you could do? And you could get away with this. You could have the season start at the same exact time, take away a preseason game, add a regular season week, add a bye week, and then you could take it all the way until the end of February. And I would be 100% cool with that.
That would lead you right up to baseball, essentially.
Can you imagine?
That does sound right.
I mean,
it does sound right.
Like, so football goes from September to the end of February, and then March comes, you have spring training in full swing.
Masters.
You have baseball, actually opening days around the corner. You have the Masters. You've got March Madness. I mean, there will be no more gaps in the calendar, boys.
By the way, baseball keeps moving up their start. Like this year, it's starting on the 20th with the Padres and Dodgers in South Korea. So baseball is going to continue to do that. This isn't the worst idea you've ever had.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. I'll tell you what the NFL is good at, though, is
thank you for that.
You're welcome. Leaving you wanting a little more. I mean, it does keep you in it. It does keep you in it. And then the draft comes and the draft you're in. I mean, NFL has got it dialed in to keep you excited the entire year long.
Any excitement for is it the UFL? The new combo XFL, USFL?
Muted excitement. I would say, look, every year there's a star or two who cuts through. There hasn't been
PJ Walker was that guy in the AAF.
Yeah, they had, but it's overall like football. Football is dominated by two things. It's college football and it's the NFL. Those are the two best products you have in football. Nobody's watching Canadian football. Barely anybody watches these, professional leagues like the AAF, like the XFL, and now the new UFL, which is a combination of the old XFL and the old USFL. Anyways, I digress. Fletch, what do you got for us this morning?
You want to know what really made me sick? Not the fact that the Niners lost this, not necessarily, even though to a larger extent, yes, this made me really mad that I, in my lifetime, have not seen a Niners Super Bowl victory. And I think two of them, if not all three of them that I've seen in my lifetime, should have been wins for the 49ers. What really sickens me is there's this whole new crop of NFL fans that came to life this year. It is the Taylor version of the NFL fan who is here and is here to stay, it looks like.
Sickens me.
They waited 3 months and they already got a Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see where this is
I've
going.
waited my entire life and I haven't had one of them, guys. 1995 was the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl. I wasn't even a thought yet. I wasn't born until March of 1996. These fans have been here and I have no hate thrown at them other than the fact that they've waited 3 months and they've already been to the tippy top. They don't know what the struggle is. Well, that's all I got.
Wow. Taylor Swift, man, everything she touches turns to gold.
Apparently.
That's a great point. Yeah. That's a great point. It does for Taylor Swift fans. It feels like their introduction into being a fan is like 5 or 6 year olds in the 2000s. Like, imagine if you were born, Fletch, in 96, but in like Gloucester, Massachusetts.
I would have had the easiest life ever.
You would have been a Patriots fan. You would have been a Red Sox fan. You would have been a Bruins fan.
Oh, it would have been
awesome.
You
would have been a Celtics fan. All you would have known is winning because the entire start of the millennia, there were just title after title after title going to Beantown. Like certain fan bases get spoiled in the Taylor Swift fan base a little spoiled.
3 months.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, football's easy.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. What do you got, TD?
Well, I actually have a real monologue today.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I know. It's crazy.
Buckle up,
crazy.
folks.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you have my attention.
Listen, the Super Bowl is a fantastic event. I mean, start to finish, all the fanfare, a week leading up to it, of just the media hype. Everything is so dialed in. The NFL is hitting on all cylinders. But the NFL needs to figure out a way, and I know they want to make money off of it. I know they want to sell $10,000 tickets. I know they want to sell $2 million suites. But you got to get more fans of the teams there because it was a little quiet during the game. Like it was just a slow roar in the stadium. There was no, the terrible towel swinging and the stick swinging when any kicker was getting ready to kick a field goal. None of that was there behind the goalpost. When a third down happened for the Chiefs, which there was 18 of them, there wasn't a huge roar trying to stop him. I mean, it was just kind of a low crowd noise the whole time. I felt like that's the element that's missing. So I guess they're just gonna have to pipe it in.
Yeah. I will say this. The excitement of the Super Bowl, it doesn't really come through the screen the way it does during normal games. And I think it's because the fan bases are split. Like normally, when it's like a bowl game. Yeah, that's essentially, it is a bowl game.
Well, I was looking at the ticket sales, the numbers, and it was right around 30% of tickets went to 49er fans.
Right.
About 12% of tickets went to Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
The rest went to CEOs, corporate organizations, celebrities, millionaires. So they're just people who want to be at the game, not necessarily a fan of the Chiefs or the Niners.
Perfectly stated, right? So when you have this mixture of some fans of a team and some fans of another, but there is a large swath of people who are just there for the game, for the moment, you're not going to have the situation where it's 4th and 1, like where Patrick Mahomes in overtime is scrambling for the conversion. And I mean, and if that was in Arrowhead, after he gets that 4th down, it would be so uproarious, the announcers wouldn't be able to get their sentences out.
The camera shakes.
The camera would be shaking. Exactly correct. Or if it was in San Francisco, it would be so deafeningly loud when Mahomes snapped the ball that you'd be worried about people jumping off sides. You wouldn't be able to hear the ramp up to the play from the announcers. I completely agree with you. There is something lost when you have these kind of bowl game experiences.
I don't know how you fix that.
I don't think he can.
I don't either.
I don't think he can. So yeah, I don't think piping in. Can you imagine if you piped in crowd noise? Like how all these like people who spent all this money for games, like, and now I'm suing because I'm deaf.
140 decibel crowd noise.
All right, let's do this. We have a couple of these that we want to buzz through here. We'll try to do it quickly, but player of the game not named Patrick Mahomes.
So I was thinking about this a lot. Like, if the Niners do win this, who's going to be the MVP of the game? And I could really only come up with one guy, and it's not Brock Purdy. It was Juwan Jennings.
Yep. That was my pick too.
And like I put out this tweet when the Niners actually had the lead in the 4th quarter and it quickly grew old. But I said, how great is it to see the dude that does the dirty work all year long get rewarded like this in the biggest moments?
Yeah, I mean,
he threw for a touchdown, caught a touchdown.
Which was another prop bet, which we'll have to get to here on the other side of the break coming up. But another prop bet that I was wrong on.
Yeah.
Look, he had a fantastic game. And as that game was progressing on, I thought, Niners win this, he should be MVP. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's chosen. Rich, you would know this, I think, a little better. MVP is chosen before the end of the game.
Yeah, it is. I believe it's in regulation. Well, no, maybe overtime too. The point is, like, the reality of the situation is only 8 times has it ever been a receiver. Only 6 times, I believe, if I have the numbers right, it's ever been a running back, and the rest have been quarterbacks.
What about Von Miller?
Oh, sorry. Or defenders, which there have been like 2
or 3.
Yeah. Von Miller is, I think, one of maybe 2. Yeah. Him, Desmond Howard, I think, won the Super Bowl MVP. And that might be the only 2 defenders ever to win. So the rest have been quarterbacks. It's like this absurd number of quarterbacks comparatively to any other position group who's ever won it. So it would be difficult. It'd be because also you got to remember, with receivers especially, if a receiver's having a big night, it's because the quarterback's having a big night.
Right.
Typically.
Right.
Anyways, my player of the game, not Patrick Mahomes, is Chris Jones. I think that Kansas City Chiefs team without Chris Jones this season or in that game loses a tremendous number of games, and the game you just saw last night. Chris Jones is a wrecking machine. He's a defensive tackle, for those who don't know, for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the history of the game, certainly in this time. And he had an enormous impact on Brock Purdy.
At least 2 touchdowns came off the board for the 49ers because of Chris Jones.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. That's 14 points as a result of his play alone saved for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And to catch up your stat, Richie, of the 58 Super Bowls now played, a quarterback has won the award 33 times.
There you go. Yeah, so the majority of more than half the time.
Only 10 defensive players have been named Super Bowl MVP.
I'm shocked it's that high.
Yeah.
Same.
Wow.
The last one was
now
Von
we're
Miller.
down to 15 left. So we've got some running backs and a smattering of wide receivers.
I can't believe it's 10.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's really well. Although back then, remember how far football's evolved. Defense and run game was the whole league for a long stretch. All right, moment of the night. What do you think was one of the biggest moment or the most consequential moments of the night?
Alicia Keys missing the first note.
Oh, right.
She missed it bad.
Yeah. You know what, though? So did Usher.
Yeah, Usher wasn't great.
Man, yeah, that she did start out real shaky. She got
We both want it all.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the halftime because I was on the road.
Yeah, you
I'm
didn't miss a
so
whole lot.
bummed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to see
The
it.
piano came in. It was magical. She had the big red cape flowing, and then her first note was butchered.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was not good. But do not talk bad
no.
about Alicia Keys, all right?
I know.
love her so
She looked
much.
great.
Yeah.
It was an ugly piano, though. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
I thought it looked cool.
That red piano.
You were such a snobby musician.
Yeah. Come on, give me this like a grand piano out there. The thing looked like it was a tape dispenser that was supposed to be a woman's high heel.
I thought it was awesome.
It looked like a tape dispenser. That one just caught me. TD, he's got real chops. He can play guitar, he can sing. No, you do. And our Christmas show. Listen back to our Christmas show. He absolutely nailed it singing at the end of the show. It was, he had people in tears in the studio. So TD has what a lot of musicians. My sister does it. She's a singer. When you hear other musicians, it's always like, it was a little pitchy.
That piano looks stupid.
Yeah.
I actually thought Alicia Keys saved the halftime show, is all I'm saying.
Oh, Ludacris saved the halftime show.
Luda?
Luda.
I love Luda.
So do I.
Moment of the night for me was that final drive of Patrick Mahomes, that final touchdown. I mean, that's the culmination of this whole thing. The most consequential moment was that blocked extra point.
Yeah, good point. Actually, that could easily be mine. I would say the moment of the night was when Dre Greenlaw was bouncing up and down on the sideline, getting ready to go back on the field with his defense, and he popped his Achilles.
That actually hurt my heart when I
dude.
saw that happen.
I was listening to it when it happened, and he was like, and he's down on the, Kevin Harlan's on the radio colors. He's down on the sideline, and he's close to the sideline. He's trying to crawl back to the sideline, and they're just leaving him. I'm just like, where's the cart?
Dude, it was awful. Watching that and knowing what Dre Greenlaw means to that 49er team, he's kind of the unsung hero on the defense because they talk about Fred Warner a lot. They talk about Nick Bosa a lot. They don't talk about Dre Greenlaw as much. He is probably the second best defensive player on the team, and he is everything to make Fred Warner what Fred Warner is.
Dude, perfectly stated, Fletch. The way I look at Dre Greenlaw, I'm having trouble. Dre Greenlaw, that one's a tongue twister for me, at least. The thing that he reminds me of is Deebo Samuel's importance on the offense. Everybody talks about Brock Purdy. Everybody, obviously and warrantedly so, talks about Christian McCaffrey. But Deebo Samuel, he is such a matchup nightmare, and he's so versatile, and he does so much that you don't see. The blocks downfield, all that type of stuff, that he's actually underrated somehow in this collection of stars on the offense. Same thing with Dre Greenlaw. When he's on the defense, it's like watching the trash collector.
And take notice, Travis Kelce had a terrible first half. He wasn't getting the ball. Do you think there's a reason to that?
And the reason why I call him the trash collector is, guess what? You don't think about your garbage man until they skip a couple of weeks.
You need him.
Yeah, you need him. You absolutely need him. All of a sudden, you got bags piled up to the ceiling. Your wife's yelling at you because the backyard stinks. You need the garbage man. And Dre Greenlaw is the thumping heart of that defense right next to Bobby Wagner of the middle. And it was a big reason why the San Francisco 49ers lost that Super Bowl.
You don't get Fred Warner without Dre Greenlaw. No. And in the second half of that game, it was clear that Fred Warner was trying to do too much. He was overcommitting to things that he normally doesn't do, but it's because he didn't trust the guy who came in for Dre Greenlaw. Dude. They have such a rapport. It's like the old days of Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman side by side.
Yeah.
They are simpatico. They know exactly what's happening with each other. And when you take one of those pieces out, well, the defense all of a sudden becomes a little more holy, and Travis Kelce's able to go for 92 yards in the second half. That's what happened in that game. That you're so right, Rich. The most consequential moment was the freaking sideline.
I know.
How does that happen, man?
It's the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst. And then guess what? Now he has to spend the entire offseason rehabbing this, going through the struggles of the what ifs. What if I was out there?
And it wasn't something that happened on the field.
No, it's the dude. It was to me, it was a moment. It was the moment of the night, but it was in the worst way possible. I feel terrible for him, for 49ers fans. Obviously, it changed the game for sure. You said a holy defense, and certainly they had to say their prayers after Greenlaw went down. All right, coming up next, we got to get to all the prop bets. Which ones did we hit on? Which ones did we miss? There are a lot of swings and misses for me, I got to tell you. That's coming up on the other side. Okay.
We're going to get to some of these prop bets we made last week. Our predictions, not as good as we hoped. We'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by Lexus El Cajon. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl 25-22 in overtime over the Niners. Patrick Mahomes racking up his third Super Bowl MVP. He threw for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the walk-off touchdown in overtime to McCole Hardman. College hoops, Aztecs took an overtime loss at Nevada Friday night, 70-66. They'll be back on the court tomorrow night at Viejas Arena, taking on Colorado State, 6 o'clock. We still got a pair of tickets to that game coming up on the show today. And Padres pitchers and catchers reported yesterday to Peoria. The rest of the team reporting on the 16th as they get ready to open up their season in Seoul, South Korea, a little earlier this season against the Dodgers on March 20th. Experience true luxury at Lexus El Cajon. Get a great deal on any Lexus and see why they're ranked number 1 for customer service. LexusElCajon.com. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon.
Make him say, Big Rich TD Fletch, San Diego Sports 760 on a post-Super Bowl Monday. Look, the most called out day in the nation every single year. Not us.
Nope.
We're here.
Nope.
Teachers have the day off. Kendall is relaxing in bed.
So cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I'm very jelly.
What else is cool? We got a pair of tickets to go see Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. August 31st is the show. Tickets and info, livenation.com. Also a pair of tickets for Aztecs versus Colorado State. That's tomorrow night, Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. Tickets and info there. Go Aztecs.com or just keep listening because those are going to be given away shortly. We promise.
Yeah. Look, and we're so good at that. Delivering on giving the ticket giveaways exactly when we tell you we're going to. No.
1,000,000%.
If there's one New Year's resolution we all made to start 2024, it's to get better at that. I think overall our average is pretty good.
We're not bad.
Yeah.
By the way, we will be out at Viejas Arena tomorrow from 3 to 6. So John and Jim will be there from 3 to 5. John and I will be there from 5 to 6.
Love that.
Sweet.
Love that. Yeah, so Colorado State coming to town after a tough loss.
Overtime.
Jeez.
First overtime loss of the year out of 3 tries.
So Nevada, credit to them. I mean, dude, like Nevada getting that win, again, let's just call it what it is. The San Diego State Aztecs are the Kansas City Chiefs of the Mountain West. Like, if you really think about it, they're targeted every time they play. Like, for so long now, through the Steve Fisher era, now through the Brian Dutcher era, you have this monolith that's kind of stands alone in the Mountain West. And everyone's gunning for you every year. Now, I think because of name, image, and likeness, you know, like the Nevadas, the UNLVs, the Boise's, the Fresnos, even maybe to a greater or lesser extent, the Air Forces of the world, you know, you're going to see more of the players who grow up around these schools, like the Fresno area. They're going to go to the Fresno State instead of coming down to San Diego State because maybe there's a wealthy alumni who will fill up a recruit's pockets to make sure he stays at Fresno.
That's kind of cool.
It is cool.
I would like some San Diego names to keep, moving up the charts here, moving up the boards. It'd be cool with that.
That's what the football team is actually doing a really good job of right now, is keeping San Diego local. What I will say, it's very fun to look at Mountain West standings after every day because everybody's losing to everybody.
Yeah.
It is the most cannibalistic conference right now in the country. And basically, San Diego State's 1 game behind Utah State right now.
It's just there's so much parity is what I'm trying
and
to say.
There's
It's what you're
probably
saying.
going to be 5, maybe even 6 teams in the NCAA tournament from the Mountain West.
So
what's crazy to think that Nevada win, actually good for the conference, bad for the Aztecs.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Because it elevates the conference a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't help the Aztecs in
Not a bad
terms
loss.
of seeding.
They didn't even drop in Kempom. It's a 3-point loss, 4-point loss on the road in overtime. You were actually dogged in that game by 2 points.
Now let's talk about seeding on our show.
Right.
So we had a bunch of prop bets that we fired through at the big game tailgate party over at K&B Bistro on Friday. And we have answers now. So do we want to buzz through these real quick? See who got what right?
Right off the get-go, prop number 1. Will any player or coach cry during the national anthem? We all said yes.
Easy money.
We were all correct within 8 seconds.
How about the camera zooming in on Chris Jones's face? No tears. And then as the camera gets to the point where it's all the way up in his face, 2 drop down.
Like it was fake.
Almost felt that way, didn't it?
Right.
I mean, I can't even imagine that. Anyways, yeah. So that was easy money.
I was choked up during Reba's performance. How could you not be on the field?
Right. Prop number 2, will more than 2 players have a pass attempt? Both Rich and I said yes. Fletch, you said no. You were wrong.
And
you were right.
That makes sense because he's a big Brock Purdy guy. And I was saying there's no way Kyle Shanahan doesn't take the ball out of his hand at least one time. And so, yeah, me and TD got that one. All right.
Prop number 3, will Taylor Swift be shown more than 5.5 times? We all said yes, and that was smashed on the over.
That dog will hunt.
Yeah, we're all right there. What color will the Gatorade be that's dumped on the winning head coach? Rich and I said red. Fletch, you said yellow. We were all wrong. It was purple?
Dude, what?
I even brought up purple during that segment.
You did, but I would have called you absolutely insane.
Listen,
I may have. I don't quite remember.
If you were going to tell me that a little Riptide Rush was going to be spilled on the field at Allegiant Stadium, I would have
Do
told
we
you.
know it was Riptide Rush?
Well,
It could just be grape.
I guess it could be grape. I don't know. But who drinks grape?
That's what I'm saying.
And it felt like it was a little lavender instead of. Anyways, I digress. We were wrong. We were all wrong.
Oh, number 5. Will there be a doink on a field goal or extra point? Rich and I said no. Fletch, you said yes. We were correct. You were wrong. However,
Thank you. There was a doink, but it was on a kickoff.
which was incredible,
That
by
is
the way.
cool. That is
I
very
have
cool.
never seen that before, where it bounced off the crossbar.
So is this a
not
push?
the upright?
No,
No,
because it has to be on
I
the
feel like
field
it's a
goal
push.
or
Field goal, it's a field goal or extra point.
Actually, our buddy Peter Solis tweeted at me right after that happened. Said, "Does that count as the doink?"
Oh, wow,
No,
that's so funny.
nope, doesn't. Pro rules here, Peter. Prop 6, will there be a proposal after the game? Rich and I said yes. Fletch, you said no. However, there
feels
was
like
a
another
proposal.
push. This is another push, though.
Yeah, this is interesting.
'Cause it wasn't
Usher-
on the field.
And okay, hang on.
Okay.
Did we
Wait,
also,
it doesn't say on the field,
It
though.
doesn't say that, but that's how we were talking about
did we
it.
clarify that it had to be a player? I think we did, right? It had to have been a
We
player.
talked
No,
about
well,
whether it was a player or a coach, maybe.
Okay.
And then,
well,
but none of this smells stinky.
Well,
So I feel
Usher-
like Fletch is right on this one.
okay,
and we're
okay,
wrong.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So then Fletch will get this one.
Yeah.
Usher and his soon-to-be wife have obtained a marriage license, and they're still out in Vegas. They may be getting married today.
They're getting
So he
hitched.
proposed after Dirty Dancing with Alicia Keys.
Yep. There was a lot of pelvic thrust, by
Yeah.
the way, by Usher. during
Listen,
that.
I mean, have you ever been in a club listening to Usher? That's all you do is pelvic thrust. That's literally how I met Annie.
Prop
Little-
number 7.
Yeah.
Will the national anthem be longer than a minute and a half? Everyone said yes except myself, including JD Wicker, who said yes, it's going longer than a minute and a half. You guys were all correct. Reba McEntire went about a minute 37 from note to note. However, still was the quickest national anthem since Kelly Clarkson did it 12 years ago.
What was so fascinating is I couldn't convince you. I tried. I was like, dude, you get to stretch out your moment in the Super Bowl. That's like a $21 million moment
Let me tell you, when she got to Home of the Brave, we were at a minute and 1 second.
Yeah.
Home of the Brave took us up to about a minute 22, and then she added another note right at the end, which strung it out
She
over
knew.
a minute and a half. She knew exactly what she was doing. Which team will succumb to the Drake curse? Now, Drake chose the Chiefs. I think we all said he was wearing Niners, right? I didn't write this one
That's
down.
what we said.
Did
said
you
he
say
would be
Niners,
wearing
Rich?
Niners.
I said Niners.
So
for
he
sure
said
he was
that
gonna
he would
curse
try
the
to like create his own thing with the Niners and not just be a
Right.
part of the Taylor Swift thing.
So we were all wrong, and I guess the curse is now broken because he was
Betting
all
on
for
the
the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
What is Usher's opening song? Rich and I said OMG. Fletch, you said yeah. We were all wrong. I have no idea what the song was.
Never heard.
Yeah, like the first 3. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
What player scores the first touchdown? Rich and I said C-Mac. Fletch, I think you said Debo.
I think I said Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, you were right.
Oh,
You
that's
did
right.
say
Like
that.
I said, it was going to be a random one.
Well,
boy.
it was C-Mac.
We were all wrong.
No, you guys were right.
Yeah, we were right. C-Mac.
Tim, I mean, we were right. You were
Right.
wrong.
Will there be a streaker at any point? We all said no on this one. There was, however, half streaker.
Yeah,
And then-
only tops. You got to go bottoms also.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Prop 12 was who wins Super Bowl 58. Rich and I said the Chiefs. Fletch, I feel like you said the Niners on this
I
one.
think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you were wrong.
This one hurts, man. Like the
Yeah.
last time, the one where they lost to the Chiefs the time before, I was like just mad at Jimmy Garoppolo the next day. So that felt a little better. This time I'm just sad.
Man, oh man. Now, if we ever make it out to the Super Bowl, if you thought ticket prices were expensive,
Yeah.
wait till you hear how much the nachos were.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I was absolutely floored by some of the pricing. I wasn't aware of this until TD passed this along. We're gonna check that out on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on Super Bowl Monday. Coming up, we have nachos. We have so many nachos to talk about. That's next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you this morning. If you're listening right now, you're going to want to be listening before the end of this segment. We're going to either be giving away a pair of tickets to Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire, or tickets to Aztecs versus Colorado State. So we're going to pick one of those pairs of tickets to give away in just about 5 minutes. We'll tell you exactly when to call. Do not start calling now. Otherwise, Fletch will just hang right up on you.
Right.
I will.
Right.
Richie, your hair's coming in, man.
Oh,
yeah. It's like laying down now.
I just looked up at you for the first time. I haven't been looking at any.
I know you're so like when I say Fletch will hang up on you, he'll just do it because he's in a bad mood. Like he is. The 49ers lost.
Aztecs lost.
He's got to rename his dog now.
Yeah.
No, Rocky's staying.
Are you sure? Maybe you call him Bosa.
You know what's really gross actually about this whole thing?
That's a pretty good
on
name.
Yeah.
I won on Prize
on,
Picks
Bo.
last night.
Oh, you did.
So like after the game, I'm looking. I just won $200.
That's awesome.
It's awesome,
Wow.
but it hurts.
I had one of
Wow.
those squares, those grids that you fill out.
Yeah, I went over on those.
$450.
Damn.
Yeah.
How much was the buy-in?
I had the halftime and I don't know, there was 10 $10 per square, something like that. I had the halftime and I had the final.
Dude, that's
Usually
crazy.
people like
450.
panic when they get the 0-0 square, because
Yeah.
like no quarter is going to end without anybody scoring, right? Or
Right.
it's not going to be 2020
No.
last night.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
And yet it was a riveting game.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, every single play, like we were talking about earlier, every single play felt like it was like the money play. Like this has to be the one that gets you over the top. Speaking of money, anybody who went to Vegas for this Super Bowl, you better have deep pockets.
Yeah. Well, I guess you do right off the get-go. If you're buying a $6,000 to $10,000 ticket just to get in, maybe the cost of nachos isn't so staggering. Nachos were $60 at the game.
So have you guys been to a game at SoFi yet?
Yes.
I have not. No. Oh, you
So-
mean at the new
I'm sorry. I've not been to a game.
Yeah.
So a game
Yeah.
at SoFi Stadium. I went and saw it was like Rams Bucks a couple years ago. Like the first
Okay.
year SoFi was really going. And it was right after COVID. My brother bought the tickets. So I was like, oh, I'll be nice. I'll buy food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I spent more on food than he spent on my one ticket.
Hold on,
and it
hold on.
wasn't out. It was
Way.
like chicken fingers, fries, and a couple beers.
Where were you sitting?
Up top, 400s.
Oh, really? Okay, so we went to a concert there and we were down low.
Yeah.
And then so we walk in and I'm like, wow, the food here is insane. I guess
Yeah.
is good food and very expensive.
Oh, this food was crap. Up
Okay.
top.
So I mentioned something of like, holy smokes, man. I mean, it's like $80 for this cheeseburger dinner. This is outrageous. And somebody said, keep going up. The prices go down as you go up.
Oh,
the
that's-
food gets worse and the prices go down as you get to the top level.
I know. I bought.
That's
It was
insane.
like 2 Modelo's and 2 chicken finger fries, and I actually it might have been 3 of each because we had another buddy with us.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I'll take care of food. You guys got the tickets.
Wow.
Dude, the food cost me like $170.
A loaded baked potato at the game yesterday was $50.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And everybody knows that Vegas is famous for loaded baked potatoes.
That's right.
Makes perfect
It's
sense.
the best baked potatoes you're gonna get.
See, that's the crazy thing about the Super Bowl. When you charge crazy ticket prices and you have crazy amounts of access to things that very few people have, people don't care because they treat it like for example, Disneyland, which I just found out I'm going to this week.
Sweet.
I literally just got a text message. So that's happening.
Good.
We're going to have a chat about that. So it literally just came across. Anyways, long story short, when you're there, you're like, it's almost like you're in a different world altogether. You're just like, oh yeah, these green things that I keep in my wallet. Here you go. You can have
Right.
all of these pieces of paper. Like
Right.
it's just, and then I'm sure there's people who woke up the next day going, do you know how many orders of $60 nachos we had yesterday?
Right. But you go in with the mindset of like, this is going to be pricey. I know it's going to be pricey going in to buy food, but $60 for nachos.
I got a good way
Yeah. What's
to
that?
avoid spending all that money on
You
that
fill
food.
your pockets with nachos.
Yep,
No.
that's right.
Oh, okay.
You
Nacho
go
cheese
over-
right in the front pocket.
To sdfatloss.com and
Oh,
start your
that's
diet today.
Before you do
Completely
that,
what different.
I completely agree with you. Before you do that, though, I want you to choose, okay? Because you skinny little mini over there. Chicago tickets or Aztecs tickets? What do you want to
Ooh,
give
good
away?
call.
TikTok.
You're the meaning in my life. You're
we're
the
doing Chicago?
inspiration.
Doing Chicago
Yeah.
right now.
Okay, there it is. So 877-767-4760. That's 877 what, TD?
Sorg 760. Spelled SORG.
That's the number to dial. If you call at exactly 7:58, you are going to see Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater August 31st. Tickets and info on sale right now at livenation.com. Keep listening or don't keep listening. Call in at 7:58 for your opportunity to win those tickets. Fletch, you are looking good though, man.
25 or 6 to 4. If you add all those up, that's about how much weight I lost.
Damn.
That was also a Chicago reference. I don't know if you guys caught
I
that.
did not.
Yeah. They have a song called 25 or 6 to 4.
Hmm.
But sdfatloss.com is how we did it. And if you're ready to start losing some weight here, if you got a bunch of summer weddings coming up or a vacation coming up that you want to be looking good on the beach, then I suggest you get over and talk to Wayne and Chloe today. sdfatloss.com. They have the secret for quick weight loss. Most importantly, lasting weight loss using their time-tested methods over literally tens of thousands of clients across the country. SD Fat Loss has broken the weight loss code. If you're tired of the yo-yo diets of losing a little bit of weight and then putting it all right back on, this is where you need to go. SDFatLoss.com. Talk with Wayne and Chloe. It's a free consultation. You got nothing to lose there. And they'll lay it out for you, like curated to you, what you need to do over the next really 2 weeks to start losing weight and start losing weight in a hurry. When we first started, weight was coming off like 3 pounds at a time per day. Like we'd get on the scale every morning and we had the group text going for accountability where we would talk about our weight every single day. And it really helped us. So if you have a wife, if you have a husband, or if you have a brother or someone that you want to do this with, it helps with the accountability. SDFatLoss.com is the place you need to go. If you're done being exhausted with the same old stubborn weight problems, learn how SDFatLoss.com can help you out today. Talk with Wayne and Chloe. They were our team. They can be your team too. And if the three of us could do it, let's be honest, you can too. It's hour 3 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Lexus El Cajon. Kansas City Chiefs, they win the Super Bowl 25-22 in overtime over the Niners. Patrick Mahomes racking up his third Super Bowl MVP. He did so with 333 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, including that walk-off touchdown to McCole Hardman in overtime. College hoops, Aztecs took the L at Nevada Friday night in overtime 70-66. They'll be back on the court tomorrow night against Colorado State, 6 o'clock, big game in the Mountain West at Viejas Arena. Still have a pair of tickets to give away to that game. And as football fades to the rearview mirror, baseball's here, man. The Padres, pitchers and catchers, they're in Peoria as of yesterday. By the way, guys, I don't know if you've seen this yet. Jerkson Profar putting up a story on his Instagram that makes it looks like he is returning to the Padres. Nothing official, but it looks like Jerkson Profar might be back. Experience true luxury at Lexus El Cajon. Get a great deal on any Lexus and see why they're ranked #1 for customer service. LexusElCajon.com. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Happy Super Bowl Monday. Gosh, we've said this multiple times throughout this broadcast. This should really be a national holiday. And whatever candidate runs on that platform, we will vote for you. You want to run as an independent? You know, a lot of people say, oh, well, that's just really the vote stealing party. It's going to sway the election. Not if you run on the platform. Look, guys, I don't know much about Pollock or ticks or anything. But I can tell you that I know that we need a day after Super Bowl Sunday to recover as a nation, to heal.
Yeah,
I
can't they
don't
just
know
move
much,
President's Day up a week?
but I know I love you.
Yeah, that would work. Hey, by the way,
Yeah, we'll just move that around.
Yeah.
What president?
we'll just move around Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah,
No
it's
big
his
deal.
birthday. It's his birthday. It's no problem. Just celebrate whenever.
Actually, I would prefer that if we could change that, and then we'll just say we celebrate this day, these 2 birthdays ahead of their birthdays for no particular reason, and we just
Anyways, you're off tomorrow.
we put in a quick phone call to Roger Goodell. He's in control of that one.
Charge of all birthdays going forward.
We're gonna do the good, bad, and the ugly in just a little bit, but if you ever wanted to know what true leadership sounded like, if you want to know what it sounds like when you're taking full accountability for something, just go back and listen to Brock Purdy. We have some sound of him. This is Brock post-game. This is a losing quarterback, by the way. This is somebody who's played in the biggest game of his life, hands down. He played as best he could. Did he play a perfect game? Absolutely not by any stretch. He did not. But here's Brock Purdy. Here's what he said. Here's the message he wanted the fan base to hear as his parting words at the end of the season.
I got to be better in terms of, leading the guys. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think we have the team, the offense to score touchdowns. And I think I failed to put our team in position to do that.
This is hard to do. See Zach Wilson. Okay. It's not always going to be perfect, right? It's not always going to be your fault, but it is your responsibility as a leader of a team, especially a quarterback. If anybody's going to trust you, to act like it is and to take that responsibility and to wear it and to believe it. Like, there's no question in my mind that Brock truly believes he's the reason the San Francisco 49ers lost that football game. And he's not. But when you really think about it, like, Brock Purdy's going to come back better, stronger, smarter. He's going to put in the work because that's what it sounds like. And not everybody's got that. That's an intangible quality that he came to the league with.
I've replayed pretty much every second of that game in my head a lot, and Brock Purdy had nothing to do with Christian McCaffrey fumbling the football. He had nothing to do with back-to-back penalties on Trent Williams to knock him out of field goal range in the second drive of the game. He had nothing to do with a muff punt. But what he did have something to do with was the fact that there were 2 separate nails he could have put in the coffin of the Kansas City Chiefs, and neither of them happened. Now, you have to give the Chiefs a lot of credit. Chris Jones was in his face on both of the plays, but either one of those end up touchdowns. The Juwan Jennings third and short, where they ended up having to settle for a field goal, and then a deep shot to Deebo Samuel, who had his defender beat. Both times Chris Jones was in his face. Both times Aaron throws.
If Patrick Mahomes was in Brock Purdy's shoes and Chris Jones was in his face, does Patrick Mahomes make that pass?
See,
tough to say, but
yeah, it's the tricky part about all this, because you look at Patrick Mahomes and what he has is it's not just the ability to throw in the face of pressure. It's also an elite level of escapability. He's not the fastest guy, but in that short space quickness, he makes guys look really foolish. And you saw Brock do it a couple of times too. And he did it really well, getting out, rolling out to his right side, hitting a little head fake, giving himself a little extra time. And again, the throw, it's an overthrown ball and all those things. Those are the plays that Patrick Mahomes makes that Brock Purdy doesn't for now. But again, this is a work in progress. You're not who you are in year 2, who you become in year 5.
Well, let's put it this way. Patrick Mahomes does not lead this iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs to a Super Bowl in his first season.
I believe that's
Or
correct.
second season or third season.
Yeah,
like he has gotten better every single year, and he's able to lead this team, which isn't as talented as the other ones he's won with, to this point because he is that much better to make up for everything.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And Brock Purdy, I mean, he's got a lot of room to grow here, and there's a lot of great things to build on. But there are moments, I think it was a third down in the third quarter.
3rd and 4.
And there was a matchup that was a one-on-one matchup that should have favored Brock Purdy all day long. He had to call a timeout because he didn't like the look up front. If Patrick Mahomes was there, he would have made that change right on the fly.
Boy, and it's a war on the field when the ball snapped, the first flying, you got to figure out and react and read and react. But then there's also that chess match that's happening behind the scenes, right? Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, both of them tacticians, both of them presenting different surfaces from a formation standpoint or a personnel standpoint, or even the way a play is designed. It could be the same play, and it's very easy for all the offensive players to remember how to run this play, but it looks completely different to the defense because of the way you motioned or, the shift that you put in right there pre-snap, because all of a sudden it suggests to them, oh, this is breaking a tendency. It's going this way. And then boom, you're right back out it's crazy how much of that stuff is done pre-snap. And defensively too, with Steve Wilkes and Steve Spagnuolo. Like both of them are experts also presenting things that are not disguising things that are not actually happening. So yeah, for Brock, look, it's an unfortunate reality of being a quarterback in the league. It's hurry up and learn because nobody has patience. Everybody wants results immediately. And he's done a lot in his very short career, but he's got a lot to learn still too. And I think given that little sound clip we played there of how much accountability he takes, I think he's going to be better next year, and he's going to be cheap. He's going to be so cheap. You can build around this guy for years.
2 more years of really, really cheap, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know does he take a discount? Who knows?
Yeah.
Or do they lock him up earlier? Maybe they try to get him cheaper now than they would be able to later. I don't know. Do you guys want to be really heartbroken?
Yeah, I could handle it. Is this the Bosa
This
sound?
is the Bosa sound. So this is Nick Bosa, who played his ass off yesterday. You could tell if there was one guy working harder than anybody else on the field, it was Nick Bosa trying to get to Patrick Mahomes, and he made a big difference in the game. But afterwards, man, you could tell how hard he took this one. Take a listen.
Yeah, and I was speechless. I couldn't really look anybody in the eye, especially all my teammates. I could have done more. Everybody could have done more, and there's really not much to say at this point. It's going to hurt. It's going to hit in waves, and but that's life.
I miss playing football. I do not miss that feeling. I remember after certain losses, the amount of physical tax and mental tax it puts on you. It feels like you're giving your soul a haircut after losses like that. It's gutting. It leaves you empty. You're already emptied out physically and emotionally from the game. And then all of a sudden, that feeling of complete failure, like that we had everything in front of us and we lost it all. That sinks in. And like he said, it does. It hits you in waves. And I feel for every single one of those San Francisco 49ers. But if there's one thing in concert they all did after that game, it felt like a chorus coming from their side of the podium. Accountability. Brock Purdy did it. You heard it there from Nick Bosa. You heard it from Kyle Shanahan, the head coach. The message is being set across this culture. It's us. It's not what happened to us. It's not them. It's about us getting better, learning from this moving forward. And they got a great opportunity. They're already Super Bowl favorites for the next Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, and this Super Bowl ended in such a dramatic fashion. I mean, the Niners have the lead. All they have to do is just at least hold the Chiefs to a field goal, and we're going to go to double overtime. And all of a sudden it just ended. And I mean, you could tell that the San Francisco sideline was not prepared for that, because they sat there still as confetti rained down upon them with a loss.
Yes.
Rough.
It's so rough, man. It's life. It's life in the big leagues, right? It's just what it is. I mean, there's no such thing as perfect endings. I say this a lot in football. Even the ones that look perfect, they're not, because there's always trade-offs. I mean, and that's true in life. That's the reason why sports are so important for kids to play. It's so important for all of us to love and fall in love with, because it's like, yes, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it teaches you those tough lessons that life will just, jam down your neck time and time again. And it kind of helps you internalize and rationalize some of the things that are outside of your control. All right, we want to get to the good, bad, and ugly, but first, let's hit a little halftime here.
Well, what I got is what we've been talking about all morning long here. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're Super Bowl 58 champs. They beat the Niners in a thriller in overtime, 25-22. Patrick Mahomes went 8 for 8, threw for 42 yards, ran for 27 more, and threw the game-winning touchdown on the final drive in overtime. Mahomes named MVP of the game. And as we try to break down everything that happened in the game, I'd like to rank some of these Super Bowl happenings on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And we'll start here. Reba and Post Malone, 6.5. The unveiling of the Lombardi Trophy through the flames before kickoff, 10. Beyonce's Verizon commercial, 0. Never been so happy to be an AT&T customer. Ben Affleck's Dunkin' Donut ad, 10. Perfect 10. Allegiant Stadium, the Super Bowl setup there, I thought it looked great. I'm going to give it an 8. Weird use of Roman numerals flipped upside down and repeating to look like hieroglyphics, like I was watching The Mummy, 3. I'm going to give that a 3. Usher's halftime performance started out about a 4. I got up to a 7. The weird ending brought me back down to a 5.5. NFL's incorporation of roller skates, 9. Alicia Keys' catsuit, perfect 10.
Wow, yeah.
Blake Lively appearance, yeah, that's going to be an 11. Kansas City, their NFL champs hats, I'm going to go with a 1 on that. Travis Kelce proposal to Taylor, 0. Didn't happen. In the NBA, the Celtics of the Knighted the Heat, 110-106. And the Thunder painted the guys Sacramento's, 127-113.
It's amazing. Even with such a small sample size, you still really pull through for
Super
us.
Bowl rankings were so good. The NBA scores.
We'll give you the pass.
But they painted guys Sacramento's.
Still don't get it.
Painting the toenails. Look, the point is,
men's toes.
We're not.
Some of the texts that we've gotten on the show today have been really good. 858 MGM paid out all national anthem bets either side because she added the extra note.
No way.
That's what this texter is saying. I can't confirm that.
What?
484, is Ben going to have Einhorn and Finkel nightmares for decades because of Moody's extra point? Yes, I already have had them. 913, TD, if you spell Reba backwards, it's a beer. Thank you. 619, Bang Bang Loser Gang. Oh, that hurts. And then 913, Bosa and Young are both beasts. They were wrecking balls in the first half. Not sure if they tired out or what. I actually have a different answer to that. I don't know that they tired out. I think you remove Dre Greenlaw from that defense, all of a sudden it gets a little slower. Like just all around the field.
Yeah. Look, team speed is a real thing. Like offenses, like for example, the Miami Dolphins, they scare defenses because everywhere you look on the field, there's somebody who's a track star. Same with defenses. When you have guys who could fly around the ball, like remember the old Pittsburgh Steelers defenses when they had Troy Polamalu, or the old Baltimore Ravens defense where they had Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Like they had sideline to sideline, like scorched earth speed. And it changes the way you can defend and play when you have playmakers like that. And Dre Greenlaw is one of those playmakers. And unfortunately for the Niners, maybe we'll start there. We'll start with the ugly. We're going to play a little good, bad, and ugly. And one of the ugliest things we saw was that Dre Greenlaw injury, the Achilles popping on the sideline as he was running onto the field with his defense.
Changed the whole game.
Yeah, it definitely did. And the outcome may have been factored. But also, you had another one for the ugly. What would you say is the biggest one, TD?
Travis Kelce's little tantrum there. The little tantrum on the sideline, yelling at the coach. It rubbed me the wrong way. And my first thought was, wait, who does this guy think he is here? All of a sudden, is he getting a little bit too big for his britches out here with the Taylor Swift by his side, with all the media hype? Down a couple notches.
Mold over. And we were actually talking at break. it'll be on their podcast. Like the Kelsey brothers will address this, and they'll have a clip that goes viral. Him explaining that him and Big Red, Andy Reid are tight, the relationship they have, and there's going to be laughter. And who knows? Maybe at some point this offseason they'll have Andy Reid as a guest on their podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like, look, see, Swifties, like everything's cool. Like, football is a violent game, and sometimes you lose your temper a little bit. But Daddy Travis is a good man. He's a good man, and he'll take good care of Taylor. Like, I think it's an instant knee-jerk reaction. And with Patrick Mahomes, you saw the same thing after the Bills loss. Remember, he freaked out because they got called for that Kadarius Toney offsides.
No, and it faded after a couple weeks. I just don't know if the Swifties let it fade.
And there's the thing, right? Because this is now headline news, not on ESPN or any sporting websites. This is headline news on E-News or Bravo.
Or TMZ. Like, it's a lead story.
This is getting the extra NFL fans who are here this year, not necessarily to the guys like us.
All right, so good, bad, and ugly. We covered the ugly. Here's the bad. Kyle Shanahan. 2019 loses the Super Bowl. 2021 loses the NFC Championship. 2022 loses the NFC Championship. 2023 loses Super Bowl 58. But there's a pattern forming with your Niners. With Kyle Shanahan as a head coach, as a coordinator, what are your thoughts on this? Because look, as a guy who literally owns 49ers stocks, and I'm pretty sure you haven't taken off from one.
Right. Those are dress socks, by the way. So you
Remember my wedding?
Like he's about to, after every shift, he takes off his shoes and he's got this big toe like hanging out.
toes.
So okay, Kyle Shanahan, is he the right coach for the moment?
It's hard to say yes, but the answer is yes. Like, Kyle Shanahan is the right coach for this 49ers team. And if yesterday had gone differently, say it was a 21-point lead that got blown, I would feel different because we've seen that in the past. The fact of the matter is, it was a 10-point lead and you lost Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know that it was the 49ers doing as much as it was Patrick Mahomes. There's a lot of really great coaches that lost.
But by the way, Kyle Shanahan, I mean, Rich, when you named off those 4 losses, those are just the ones he's been in charge of.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a part of some other historic losses that seem to be piling up here on the resume. So, listen, when I watched the game yesterday, I didn't see anything. I'm with you, Flesh, and I thought Kyle Shanahan blew it. Kyle Shanahan completely botched this particular call.
His play calling was pretty
good.
I agree. And you know me, I'll be critical. I think he called a great game.
Yeah, and when I thought you need to lean on McCaffrey had the ball. So, to me, this one, he just got Patrick Mahomes.
I think he got a little handcuffed because of how good McDuffie is.
Oh, I know. Trent McDuffie.
How good is that
dude?
guy? He was plastered. And every time, by the way, it seemed like it was a route set up for Debo or it seemed like it was a route set up for Ayuk. Somehow McDuffie was on them every time.
And for all the things we'll say, Rock not delivering in certain moments, there were excuses for it because there were times where he was getting pressure hands in his face for any quarterback, including a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or any of the greats. And then some of the delivery and some of the key conversions late in the game to George Kittle, to on the sideline. Like, I mean, those are big boy moments that Brock Purdy delivered him. Kyle Shanahan set them up for success for it. So, yeah, I'll put it this way. If I were a player, I would want to play for a coach like Kyle Shanahan. So, good, bad, and ugly. We covered the ugly. We covered the bad. Travis, what's the good? I'm out.
Patrick Mahomes, man. Patrick Mahomes. The dude just wins. I mean, listen to some of these stats. We talked about him earlier, Rich. 3 Super Bowl wins before the age of 30. He's now tied Tom Brady and Troy Aikman. He wins 27, right? Oh, 28. 28. So he wins next year. He will now hold the record. He will not be tied anymore. 15 career playoff wins, 3rd most of all time, right behind Brady and Joe Montana. And one of 5 quarterbacks to win 3 or more Super Bowls. He's just with the company of Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, and Aikman. And as you are writing another one in here, only quarterback in history to come back from 10 or more points point deficit to win Super Bowls. That's incredible.
In 3 Super Bowls. Yeah. So, I mean, like, there's been no starting quarterback in the NFL who's ever won 3 Super Bowls and come back from 10 points or more deficit in those Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes is the only one. It's like they got to go back down by 10 or more to win these things.
And that's not counting some of the playoff games that they've been down. Remember the Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes playoff game from a few years ago?
Oh, my gosh.
Or
Yeah.
they were down like 24 in like the second quarter.
It's unreal.
It's magical. I mean, they were calling him Magic Mahomes last night, and it's such a perfect way to describe him because, look, for as good as it is to play for like a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes, and trust me, when you're in the huddle with a guy like that, you believe 100% that you're going to win every game. Like a guy like, say, a Josh Allen, we were talking about him a little bit earlier on, or a guy like a Brock Purdy, who's become a leader of the San Francisco 49ers team, or in my experience, playing with a guy like Phillip Rivers. Like, even though like the ultimate goals weren't met over the course of his career in terms of winning championships, there's still no better teammate I've ever had than Phillip Rivers. There's no quarterback I would rather block for, protect. There's a real love and a brotherhood that's built even in losses because the guy has a talent. You're helping him get over the hump. So yeah, I mean, the 49ers found someone really special in Brock Purdy, and I hope that everybody respects that and understands that the story's not over. It's just begun, and he's going to get better.
He's 24.
He's 24 years old.
Right. And I mean, he is now done. I mean, on his resume now with a NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl appearance. When you're talking the best quarterbacks in the league, you're saying Brock Purdy's name.
His name has to be part of the conversation.
So, I mean, he's in the same sentence as Patrick Mahomes, as Josh Allen, as a Joe Burrow, I guess. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Justin Herbert. If you're going to talk about talented quarterbacks who are leading great teams, Jalen Hurts, you have to include Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You have to.
So hats off is all I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%. The dude, I mean, he sold out for this team this season, and the results were there. They just came up. They got Mahomes. Got Mahomes.
Yeah. And also, have you ever been a part of a game where a punt muff like that happened? Where it wasn't the guy who was receiving the punt. It was literally one of the blockers, one of the up men who it hit off the back of his leg. That just felt like God was saying, here you go, Chiefs.
I know. It's crazy. And yes, so what that returner was screaming was, Peter, or poison.
And he was pointing at where it was going to land because his guy was right there.
And sometimes, and it's a great job by the Chiefs special teams pushing. You got to push them back into that situation because it hits you. It's no problem. If it hits somebody on their team, it's a big problem. Obviously, saw the results.
Rich, how much of a check do you get if you lose the Super Bowl?
I still think you receive, but back when I was playing, I'm pretty sure the winner got $100,000, the loser got 75 or 50 grand.
Perfect.
Per player.
That's
per player.
Perfect because the average rent in San Francisco is just over $39,000 a year. Brock Purdy can finally get his own place.
Okay, so for this year's Super Bowl, the agreement between the Players Association and the NFL stipulates players on the winning team earn an extra $164,000. Losing team earns $89,000.
Oh, so there you go. They've upped it, and it'll keep going up every year. $89,000 for one night.
So I get some money no matter what.
Guys, what I think we should do is I'll try back out. You guys try out for the NFL. Yeah. We should join a team.
That's a good idea. Okay. And if we don't make it, we'll start our own team.
And maybe we'll just show up as like a barbershop quartet. So even if they don't want to hire us as like players because I'm old and beat up and you guys never played, but just hello.
Right. Dibs on third string quarterback. I'll hold a clipboard all day.
You hold the mess out of a clipboard. You should see him hold a clipboard. Let me tell you what I'm holding. Heavy weights all the time, everywhere. Everybody's saying, hey, could you lift this heavy object for me? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And they're like, why do you make that look so easy? I'm like, I got one word for you, but it is pronounced in a way where it sounds like 3 words. Testosterone, maybe 4 words. Anyways, the point is I'm all fired up these days. I've been going to the Man Zone at Golden Triangle Plastic Surgery. So the Man Zone is really cool. It's headed up by Dr. Roy David, double board certified plastic surgeon. You'd be saying, Rich, you don't need plastic surgery. I mean, look at you. No, that's not what I'm there for. I'm there because Dr. Roy David's a real doctor, and he is really in control of how guys are feeling and how they can get better and optimize their health. So testosterone, it's like this hot, buzzy word, but not a lot of people understand how influential it could be on your life. And I'm not just talking about for like in the bedroom or libido stuff. I'm talking about how you feel on a daily basis. So I was feeling like kind of sluggish. It would take me a long time to get out of bed. Like, just generally feeling, I don't know, lazier, if that's the way to describe it. Just kind of felt like it took a lot of will to do things that felt very normal to do before. And so what I did is I was talking to a buddy who's getting testosterone replacement therapy. He lives in a different state. He was a former teammate of mine. And he goes, yeah, dude, go and get your testosterone checked. You're talking about all the things I was dealing with. And when I saw Dr. Roy David over at the Man Zone, we checked out my testosterone. I was in the low average range. And after only a month, I boosted those numbers all the way up to where they should be and beyond. And I feel great. I feel amazing now. I can't tell you how much more energy I have. I'm back in the gym. I'm enjoying working out for the first time in a long time. It really did feel like I lost a little zest of life, and now I've reclaimed it. And everybody out there who's listening to me, whatever you're struggling with, if you're a man in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, or even in your late 30s like me, I'm 37, this should be a part of your annual physical checkup. Go in and get your testosterone tested at the Man Zone. Start your journey at themanzone.com. That's themanzone.com.
Yeah. And we got tickets right now.
Woo!
Right now. At VA House Arena tomorrow night, Aztecs take on Colorado State, 6 p.m. Tickets and info, goaztecs.com or be caller number 5 right now, 877-767-4760.
Boys, close your eyes.
Okay.
You know how the Padres don't have a left fielder?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
What?
Coming up next.
Breaking news, the Padres have secured a left fielder. We'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by the County of San Diego Health and Human Services Agency. The Chiefs win Super Bowl 58, 25-22 in overtime over the Niners. Mahomes racking up his third Super Bowl MVP at 28 years old. He did so with 333 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, including the walk-off touchdown in overtime to Mecole Hardman. College hoops, Aztecs took a loss at Nevada on Friday night, 70-66. They are 1 game back of Utah State with about half the Mountain West schedule behind them. Tomorrow night, the boys are back at Viejas Arena taking on Colorado State, 6 o'clock. D. Smith will have a couple pairs of tickets, Sean and Jim as well, coming up later tonight. And in baseball, Padres make a move, bringing back Jerks and Profar. How about that? Reported by A.J. Cassavell this morning that the Padres and infield, outfield utility man Jerks and Profar have agreed on terms. 1 in 3 teens, boys and girls, have experienced violence from a partner in a single year. Signs include injuries, excessive texts and calls, and isolation from family and friends. For 24/7 support, call 211, brought to you by the County of San Diego Health and Human Services Agency.
Happy Monday, everybody. It's Big Rich, TD and Fletch. San Diego Sports 760 just gave away a pair of tickets to go see the Aztecs take on Colorado State tomorrow night, Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. Tickets and info, goaztecs.com. Fletch, that winner was?
John.
Congratulations, John. Will we have another pair of those tomorrow?
We do. John
Right
and
on.
Jim will have 2 pairs today. Darren Smith will also have 2 pairs today to give away. We have our second pair tomorrow.
Nice. And we'll be broadcasting live out there.
From 3 to 6 tomorrow at Viejas Arena. John Schaefer and I will have you from 5 to 6.
Look
I
at
did
that.
not host pregame on Friday, by the way.
Oh, no.
I was here.
I forgot you were scheduled to do that.
I was here. I just wasn't hosting it.
Yeah, it happens. We got a little Padres update. Breaking news.
Jerks and Profar coming back. This has been talked about for a couple weeks now that potentially the Padres might look to add him because of the holes that are around this lineup right now. And he fills it. He's a total utility man. He can play outfield. He can play infield. He can play a little bit of everything. When you think about Manny Machado potentially being a little injured to start the season, maybe he's not fully ready to go, even though reports are that he will be. And when you look at the fact that they literally didn't have enough outfielders on their roster, this is kind of expected. So Jerks and Profar back with the Padres officially.
Wow. Listen, this is going to be a weird mashup. The Padres are going to be built up of stars who you are paying some part of $1 billion to, and just guys. You're going to have guys. And now Profar really kind of falls somewhere in between because he's not all that cheap. Like, I'm sure this contract isn't going to be expensive, but it's not going to be like, and it's not money anybody would turn down.
Yeah.
But that you're going to have a lot more signings coming up, and it's going to be a little bit of like, okay, so how do you even spell that? Like, you're not going to recognize a lot of the names you're going to be hearing coming across the wire here for the Padres.
That doesn't mean it doesn't work.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And Jerks and Profar and Fernando Tatis Jr. are best friends. I think that this is as much a clubhouse move as anything, but you're going to need serious playing time from Jerks and Profar this year.
There's no doubt. And health, look, that's the biggest thing for this Padres team. You need health with your starting pitching. They still need starting pitching. They need to go out there and get some pitching. Look, we talked to Kevin on air after we took him out for a night on the town. Kevin Acey, our Padres insider here on San Diego Sports 760, writer for the Union Tribune, beat writer for the Padres. Yeah.
Great hugger.
Yeah, really good hugger, as it turns out.
Long hugs.
Yeah, very gentle.
Did he touch your butt?
Yeah.
I thought he did.
He did.
Yeah.
2 hands slid right down my back, right over my buttocks.
All of a sudden, like, the record scratched, and then over the loudspeaker, the PA in the restaurant was like, oh, my love.
Yep. And then I turned around and his arms just wrapped around me.
Darling,
It was a beautiful moment.
I hunger for
His hands took
your
mine and
touch.
stuck them right in that bowl of boy.
Hello, lovely time.
We went ahead and we shaped it right into a baseball.
Kevin, if you're listening, don't you dare fact check this. This is what happened. This is how we remember it.
I remember when he was using his fingernails to make the seams.
Yes. Grabbed a toothpick and it was like he sewed it together.
So anyways, Rich, what did Kevin tell us?
What did you say? What he was saying was,
Didn't tell us I love you. I can tell you that much.
no, he didn't. He did not, and he never will, it feels like. Or maybe that one time, I don't know. Like, it's all very confusing with Kevin Acey. Look, but the one thing that isn't, the message that was loud and clear, he said, is like more so than any other preseason, if you want to call it that, spring training, we have no idea what the Padres are going to be because can you see a way that they could have a special run, especially with some of the things that have happened this offseason, Peter Seidler passing and like some of the guys that you're getting back on this roster. There's some real mashers in the lineup. You have real pitching in the front of this pitching staff. But then there's a lot of question marks, but there are for many teams. So he was like, so this could be, he was like, there's obviously a lot of gray area, but he was like, but this could be maybe a bad season. He was like, or maybe it could be a great season. He goes, there's no telling, but expectations for sure have precipitously fallen.
Yeah.
So speaking of Kev, Padres bring back Profar 1 year, $1 million deal. That seems pretty friendly to me.
Wow, yeah, that works. That works very
lock
well.
Up a lot of those 1 year, $1 million deals with guys at the talent level of Profar. Good.
Is Scorpio back on the market for $1 million? 1 year, $1 million.
Gary Sanchez.
I can't remember who got him, but
we absolutely blew it.
Yep. We are never going to see him again.
Hey, check this out. Speaking of making money, the wags of NFL players, the wives and girlfriends out there at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Getting paid per post.
Yeah, like Instagram and all that.
Instagram posts. Yeah. Ranking in at the top 3 here, Brittany Mahomes takes the 3rd place spot, married to Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, she has 1.8 million followers. Gets just over $13,000 per post. It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Pretty good. Olivia Culpo, number 2. Yep. The fiance to Christian McCaffrey has 5.4 million followers. Earns just under $31,000.
I'm telling you, regardless of Christian McCaffrey, she could have done the same thing.
Okay. Well, the number 1 wag would be Taylor Swift.
Okay. Tell me how many followers she has first.
279,700,000.
Okay. I'm going to have a hard time doing this math, so give me 1 second. So that means carry the 2. I'm going to say per post she gets $3 million.
Oh, wow. Not that high.
Okay.
Not that high, but pretty hefty. $636,700.
So I was wrong. But if she just posts 6 times, then it'll be $3 million.
Right. Which, by the way, the suite she was in cost $2 million. So 3 tweets and
you know what's crazy?
Paid for.
Oh, man. Golly.
It would take me decades to make what she could make in 30 seconds.
No, listen.
I mean, 30 seconds
Don't
is
say
high.
that.
That's all I'm saying.
Like you are underselling yourself. We've said for years, literally over a year now, at least. Onlyfletch.com. That is the ticket, buddy.
It really is.
We're not the only people who appreciate your belly button depth. There's going to be plenty of other people out there.
The masses need to see this golden brown skin.
Dude, you are Mediterranean tan. And now with all the weight loss, I'll tell you what. And it's not just you.
No.
Travis?
Yeah, thank you very much.
I mean,
thank you very much.
Bottom of the barrel, which is coming up next on Big Rich City and Flesh. I got to tell you something. You're wearing the hell out of that collared shirt.
Thank you very much. You know what's different this time? Every time I've done these fad diets, I didn't yo-yo.
No,
I didn't yo-yo diet.
No, you didn't.
Okay?
You didn't.
30 pounds lost in 8 weeks thanks to sdfatloss.com. And I didn't yo-yo. Now, yo-yo dieting, if you're like, what the hell is that? What could yo-yo dieting mean?
Yeah, couldn't tell you.
No, that means,
before I talked to Wayne and Chloe about it.
If you lose all the weight and gain it right back, that's yo-yo dieting, okay? Because you don't want to do that. And that's what will happen with a lot of these fad diets, these prescription medication diets. You'll do them, you'll lose some weight, and then as soon as you stop taking whatever that prescription medication is, the appetite suppressant goes away. All of a sudden, you're eating again. You're a big fat fatty. You gain all the weight right back and then some. And sdfatloss.com, you don't do that with. And look, I'm telling you, I did it without exercise. I did it without counting calories. I did it without counting points. When Wayne and Chloe over at SD Fat Loss said this is how it'll work, I didn't believe them. I was skeptical. I am a believer because it does work. And I do feel, I was going to say 1 million times better. It might be 10 million times better. I mean, it's just, life is easier. Clothes fit better. You're not putting on a baggy shirt to try to hide your big fat fattiness anymore. You're not trying to hide behind people in the family photos anymore. It's fine. You feel better. You look better. And most of all, best of all, you're adding a few years to the life here by dropping a few pounds. So do your family a favor. Do yourself a favor. Head on over to sdfatloss.com right now. The consultation is absolutely free. They'll talk to you. They'll figure out what works best for you. They'll walk you through it. And if it sounds great, Boom, you sign up, and I'm telling you, in 8 weeks' time, you're losing 20 to 30 pounds, just like we all did. STFatLoss.com. That's where you got to go. STFatLoss.com. Coming up next, bottom of the barrel. All the stories we couldn't quite get to earlier in the day. Bottom of the barrel coming up next.
Hey, it's Big Rich for Golden Triangle Plastic Surgery, the Man Zone. Over at the Man Zone, a gentleman named Dr. Roy David. He is the medical director. He's double board certified plastic surgery surgeon. He's an incredible person, and he's become influential in my life. And the reason being because he really cares about men, and what they go through and what their experiences are. So once you start aging, right, your testosterone dips down. If you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you've ever had your testosterone tested. I mean, it's a part of the natural aging process. You start to lose that hormone. Your body produces less of it. And as a result, aging expedites. You start feeling slower, more sluggish. You lose muscle tone, bone density. There's a lot of other things that happen to you as the aging process increases, and it increases more rapidly every single year. There's no slowing it down until very recently with testosterone replacement therapy being offered. And at the Man Zone, you are in the care of Dr. Roy David, who is an incredible professional. He's going to monitor everything. This was my experience. I talked to a former teammate of mine. He said that he had been on TRT. I should look into it because I was describing a lot of the same symptoms that he was dealing with, feeling sluggish and slow to wake up and not interested in getting workouts in and stuff like that I've always been interested in. So I go to the Man Zone for the first time. I get tested. My testosterone was in the low average range. We boosted it up through I think it only took a month and a half before the first results came back, and my test showed that I was in the healthy range and a tick higher. I felt like I was, for the first time in a long time, optimizing my health. And so I wish this for everybody. Start your journey at themanzone.com, especially if you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, or even your late 30s like me. It's time to get your testosterone checked at themanzone.com. All right, so bottom of the barrel today on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. I guess we should start with Waste Management, the tournament that took place in Arizona in concert with the Super Bowl in Vegas. You would assume the Super Bowl would be the biggest, complete disaster, zoo, whatever you want to call it. Waste Management, it is the biggest party on the PGA Tour, and it did not disappoint.
We should have
on
gone
the
golfing.
Saturday, like 18 people ended up in ambulances.
Oh,
They got a lot of rain early in the week, so a lot of the hills that people stand on
super slick.
super slick. So you had drunk girls falling all over the place and guys, and then a lot of guys taking their shirts off and sliding down those hills. But I guess on Saturday, some of their technology went down.
Just the fight breaking out.
Oh, it's awful and awesome at the same time. But on Saturday, some of the technology went down that separated the people who paid for the VIP packages from the people who were just gallery members. And the VIP packages were all inclusive. So people who were just walking around partying were able to get into the VIP areas and get free drinks.
Perfect.
And so they just made the executive decision to stop selling alcohol.
Well, so check this out. I've gone to Waste Management 3 times. I went, and I've done it a variety of different ways. I've done it in like suites that kind of dot the holes of the course. I've done it as general admission, just walking around. And every single time I've gone, I mean, you can't help it. The environment, it's like the biggest part. It's like going to an outdoor frat party. Everybody's hammered. And then it encourages you to get as drunk as possible, as quickly as possible. Anybody who's been to Waste Management, the Open, they know what I'm talking about. It is absolutely absurd. And I remember at one point, we had a spot in a suite on the 16th green where everybody bets on the ball landing on the green. This was when I was with the Arizona Cardinals. And dude, it was like, this is what I imagine like the Roman gladiators experienced when they were down on the course, where like people were literally firing beers onto the green.
How much money was being gambled?
Oh, thousands of dollars every time a golfer got to the tee box. It was ridiculous to watch. And I was shy about it. I was like, I am not going to, I am way too far gone to come home and tell Annie like, yeah, so I'm down like 10 grand because Patrick Cantley's a dick. I don't think that'll work. Wait, we can't say that on the radio?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome, YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyways, I couldn't explain to Annie that I had lost, tons of money because golfer,
Patrick Cantlay was a jerk.
It was a jerk.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because he didn't hit the green. Anyways,
Taylor Swift was at last night's game with a bedazzled football bag.
She was.
Okay. It was gifted to her by Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Shaquille O'Neal gave her a $4,495 bedazzled bag just as a gift.
Historically, great gift giver. I've heard that from a lot of people.
Well,
Hey, Taylor, this is Big Shaq Diesel. I just want to I don't have any more use for this bag. I used to wear it.
I'm done with this.
I'm all done with this. It's a hand-me-down, but would you want it? You want to rock with this for Super Bowl 58?
I think it's tough for someone to steal the show from Taylor Swift, being like her level of popularity. I think Blake Lively did it.
Blake Lively,
She was stunning yesterday.
and she did it the right way, right? She was kind of like dressed like kind of casually.
Yeah.
So she was giving off like hot neighbor chick who moved into the neighborhood, and you were just like, dude, wait, what?
She
She
looked
lives here?
Gorgeous.
She's a
dude.
mom, by the way.
Is she? Well, dude, that hasn't slowed me down yet.
That's what I'm saying. So this popped up on my Facebook memories today. This is from February 12th, 2017. Beyonce sucks.
Wow.
Seriously, does she try to see how completely awful she can be just to see if people will still purchase her music?
Who wrote that?
Me.
Yeah, bad take in 2017,
Me.
worst take in 2023, 24.
If you're looking to buy her country album, she announced it yesterday and dropped
I'm
2
in.
singles. How are you in on Beyonce?
Because Beyonce
country?
is great.
I mean, I
awful.
don't know. I dude,
Awful.
look, when Hootie went country, everybody said the same thing, and now, I
No,
mean,
I'm not in on that either.
wow, God, okay,
At least you've been consistent.
Although there are a couple Hootie songs,
Darius Rucker?
Darius Rucker country songs I will sing along to.
see, that's my.
But Hootie, I'm in.
All right. Thank you to every single roadie, hanger, banger, dog that came out to the big game tailgate. We love you. Thank you for being there. And everyone else that was involved with the big game tailgate. I call it a smashing success.
It was fun. It was definitely fun. All right, the herd's next. We'll see you all tomorrow.